Wisconsin, no matter where I go in the world, I always look forward to seeing you again. And of course, I always look forward to being back here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. You might have forgotten because I was gone for a couple of days, but I am Dan, and I am back after a wonderful European getaway to Rome, Italy, with a great group of listeners who became incredible friends and our friends at Cruise and Tour. But we have got a lot to get to. It appears that the government shutdown is going to end tonight. So, of course, Democrats have a brand new media narrative, new Epstein emails that they claim directly implicate President Trump in the disgraced pedophile financier's sex crimes. They actually do the exact opposite. We will also, in the 4 o'clock hour, dive into something that is reshaping American politics and really everything in American life. It is a new housing crisis, and we will break down just how badly it is impacting America's young adults and directly affecting America's politics, leading, I believe, directly to the election of a communist as mayor of New York City. Republican gubernatorial candidate Josh Schoemann here in Wisconsin proposes a radical overhaul of Wisconsin's elections, and it is a badly needed one. We will talk with the Washington County executive coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. And with the end of the shutdown will likely come the end of a massive loophole that has led to dangerous substances masquerading as harmless marijuana alternatives flooding Wisconsin's shelves. Why this is great news, even if you are in favor of legalizing marijuana for recreational purposes. Of course, the unhinged liberal of the day at the end of this hour, the unsung hero of the day, a story that if you are a pet owner, ladies and gentlemen, just might bring you to tears. It was submitted by a listener, and I could not believe this email as I read it. I could not think of a woman more deserving than today's unsung hero, or I guess heroine of the day, of recognition. That's coming up. Also, the daily Trump date and much, much more. First, your chance to win $1,000 in our Full Fortune cash contest. The word this hour, bank, B-A-N-K, bank. You have got until 3:55 to go to our website and enter the keyword bank to enter the contest for this hour. If your entry is picked at random, you will win $1,000. Just 3 more days to play the Full Fortune cash contest as it ends at 6 p.m. this Friday. I have it on good authority, though, folks, that we will be back in January with the cold hard cash contest, probably first or second week of the new year. All right, if you want to join the Dan O'Donnell Show via text, via a phone call, the AdventKnows.com talk and text line is always open every single minute of every single show at 414-799-1130. You can also reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show across social media, where we are streaming on Facebook, on X, on Instagram, on YouTube. Heck, we are so committed to streaming video that we're even streaming on LinkedIn. Why? Just because we can. Again, at Dan O'Donnell Show across all social media. So before we get into the obvious inflation of school and district report card grades by the Department of Public Instruction, a continuation of a pattern that we have been following here on the Dan O'Donnell Show for several years. You might remember last year, DPI unilaterally changed student test scores, and the result was what appeared to be a boost in student performance that was, in fact, nothing more than a reflection of just how much more lenient DPI's standards have gotten. Well, they've done the exact same thing to school and district report cards, and would you believe that even though Wisconsin now rates, according to national testing, last in the entire country for educating black fourth graders. Last, dead last, as in 50th out of all 50 states. Not a single school or school district failed to meet expectations. Not one got an F on the DPI report cards. Isn't that amazing? Even schools in which less than 10% of students are proficient in English language arts, meaning less than 10% of students can read and write at grade level, they are still getting exceeds expectations or meets expectation grades. So before we get into this, ladies and gentlemen, before we get into this big scandal, this is sort of late breaking that we just got word of a couple of hours ago, that a couple of hours before Democrats are going to be forced to admit defeat on this government shutdown. The Senate has already caved, of course, a couple of days ago, passing the clean continuing resolution with absolutely no concessions whatsoever. Trump and the Republicans rolled Chuck Schumer and the Democrats. They gave up nothing. The government reopened. Democrats lost. There is no other way to say it. And now, with Republicans in control of the House and no inkling that any House Republican is going to vote against the continuing resolution that the Senate passed a couple of days ago, Democrats are going to be forced to sheepishly reopen the government. And President Trump was all set to do a victory lap, but they couldn't let that happen. They could not let that happen. So Oversight Committee Democrats in the House released a new tranche of emails from Jeffrey Epstein's files that supposedly implicate then candidate Donald Trump. From 10 years ago, there was a victim whose name was redacted, who these emails indicate spent a whole lot of time with Donald Trump. There is also an email from Epstein himself to Trump biographer and serial liar Michael Wolff, an alleged journalist who has made up more stories about President Trump than girls that flew on the Lolita Express with Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Clinton, that were talking about how to best blackmail Trump back in 2015 when Trump was first running for the presidency. But the email from this unnamed secret Epstein victim is the one that has set Capitol Hill aflame. Who is it that spent hours with Donald Trump and potentially holds the key to putting him in prison for something liberals have known about forever, or at least since about mid-July when they started to pretend to care about Jeffrey Epstein and all of his crimes? Well, it's not an unknown Jeffrey Epstein victim at all. In fact, this email that is being reported by the House Oversight Committee Democrats as a new bombshell in this case has actually been released before in its unredacted form. That unknown Epstein victim is actually the most famous Epstein victim, Virginia Giuffre, who very infamously accused Prince Andrew of the British royal family of having sexual relations with her. And she was able to produce a picture of herself as an underage girl with Prince Andrew. She tragically committed suicide a few months ago, maybe close to a year ago. But she also said, under sworn testimony, that Donald Trump was always a complete gentleman to her and to other girls. On multiple occasions, she said Trump did absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, the FBI, who was at the time, it took a deposition from Virginia Giuffre, investigating Jeffrey Epstein and looking specifically for any tie to President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She said multiple times, Trump did nothing wrong. In fact, one of the emails that was released today that was supposed to be suggestive of President Trump doing untoward things with underage girls with Jeffrey Epstein actually includes a reference to Epstein saying Trump knew about the girls, which pretty much everybody in the circles that those two men ran in apparently knew about at the time. He said, of course, Trump knew. He told Ghislaine to stop. That's Jeffrey Epstein's own words. Trump told Ghislaine to stop trafficking underage girls. That would seem to suggest that Trump, who has maintained forever that he's done nothing wrong and that he was disgusted by Jeffrey Epstein and his bevy of young prostitutes, was trying to stop Ghislaine Maxwell from procuring for Epstein a bevy of underage prostitutes. In other words, these emails do the exact opposite of what it is the media is undoubtedly tonight going to claim that they do. Why is this being released right now? Well, as Caroline Levitt says, and we'll get into in the Daily Trump Date coming up about an hour from now, as she says, it is because Democrats know that they got rolled on this shutdown. It's because they want to set a new narrative. Well, the narrative over the past 40 days was that Donald Trump was so incompetent, that Donald Trump and the Republicans were so terrible and so cruel that they shut down the government because they didn't want innocent people to lose or to have their SNAP benefits. They didn't want air traffic controllers to get paid. They didn't want government at all. So they shut down the government, ignoring, of course, the fact that Republicans in both the House and Senate voted unanimously to keep the government open with a clean continuing resolution, and every single Democrat until Monday voted against said clean continuing resolution. Facts don't really matter when you're building a liberal media narrative, but now, tonight, once the government reopens, that narrative is going to collapse. They still need to hammer Trump. They still need to make it seem as though Trump is a horrible, horrible president doing dastardly deeds to the American people. And one of the things that I think they arrived on almost by accident this summer that really stuck in the minds of the American people when Attorney General Pam Bondi made a colossal blunder and released just a tiny fraction of the supposed thousands and thousands and thousands of pages that we haven't seen in the Epstein files, which is, of course, nonsense. Democrats seized on this and said Trump is in the Epstein files. And what's going on here is a deliberate attempt to cover up President Trump's crimes with underage girls. So really all they're doing with these new emails is to go back to that same dried up well. The emails, though, completely exonerate Trump, but they also show something rather remarkable. Michael Wolff, remember I told you that serial liar, that fabulist, he was one of the ones who was pushing the narrative that Trump called deceased American veterans at the Normandy Cemetery, the D-Day veterans, suckers and losers, right? He said they were suckers for signing up for this and they were losers, something that was so thoroughly debunked. Even people within the administration who hate Donald Trump admitted that was totally made up. Michael Wolff was the one who was spreading this. Well, Wolff was actually, according to these emails, going back and forth with Epstein, trying to get Epstein to say stuff that would incriminate Trump, to try to blackmail Trump, to try to politically or personally destroy Trump. And it seems that Epstein himself was somewhat resistant. What is a supposed journalist, someone who had unprecedented access to the Trump White House in what might be one of the biggest self-owns of the first Trump term, allowing Michael Wolff in, what is he doing trying to conspire with Jeffrey Epstein to take down Trump? Well, what we're seeing now with the release of these emails timed perfectly to overshadow the reopening of government and people opening their eyes to the fact that Democrats were the ones who shut it down in the first place. What we're seeing now is the rest of the media trying to, with just about as much evidence as Michael Wolff has ever been able to provide about pretty much any claim that he's made about Donald Trump, is to do the exact same thing, is to try to make it seem, without any evidence, that Donald Trump was a serial pedophile or sex abuser. It is disgusting. It is, of course, untrue, but it's also pretty par for the course for Democrats and their allies in the media. We get into the DPI district report card scam next.
This is the time of the year most of us are checking off our holiday gift list. Identity thieves have lists too, and your personal information might be on that list. Protect your identity with LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every single second and alerts you to the threats you could miss yourself. If your identity is stolen, your own U.S.-based restoration specialist has got to work to fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Make this season about joy, not identity theft, with LifeLock. Save up to 40% off your first year at LifeLock.com with the promo code BECK. Terms apply.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey, it's Vicki McKenna for Byrna, the compact kinetic self-defense tool I've been talking about. Let's take a mental inventory. When was the last time you thought about self-defense? Are you vigilant in these violent times? Do you think the police will really be there for you if things go bad? You need to make sure you are doing everything you can to protect yourself and your family. Because by now you should know that waiting around for the police is not the answer. There are not enough of them, and most of the time they arrive after an attack is over. That doesn't help you protect yourself when you need to. You're obligated to protect yourself now. Byrna's brand new compact, less lethal launcher could be the exact thing you need. It's small and lightweight, and anyone can use it. It comes equipped with chemical or kinetic rounds that can lay out your attacker from a distance, giving you time to escape. And the Byrna compact launcher is easy to conceal and has zero recoil. It's legal everywhere, and you don't need a license or a background check. Visit Byrna.com today to find the right launcher for you. That's BYRNA.com, Byrna.com.
Believe it or not, it's been 6 months since tax day. It's time to start taking a look at your plan. Fortunately, we're still in a window of time where you can review, strategize, and make many changes to your 2025 tax plan. But the days are going by quickly. The team here at Annex Wealth Management can help. Our tax and retirement specialists can review your goals and your current situation and walk through options that might build confidence on where you're headed. Contact Annex Wealth Management today.
We're the Libby family
at Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
We're not a home center.
Everyone here is an expert who really knows their stuff.
Plus, nobody beats our prices. Remember our slogan?
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Classical conservatism, contemporary style. Those emails I was referring to, Michael Wolff, who has been one of the biggest Trump critics in media, was really actually conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein back in 2015 to try to get Trump to talk about Epstein. This is absolutely fascinating. Tuesday, December 15th, 2015, 8 o'clock p.m. Michael Wolff writes to Jeffrey Epstein. I hear CNN planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in scrum afterwards. So he knew that CNN was already trying to set the narrative that Donald Trump was in cahoots with this billionaire pedophile. And yes, back in 2015, not only was Trump the GOP frontrunner for president back then, in December, Jeffrey Epstein was already well known to have gotten what became known as the deal of the century with prosecutors down in Florida to avoid sex trafficking charges. Epstein responds a couple of hours later. If we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? Michael Wolff, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him generating a debt. Of course, it is possible when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. That is a direct quote from Michael Wolff. The real scandal here is, how did Michael Wolff know what CNN was planning to ask Trump about Jeffrey Epstein, and why, given this information, was he actually colluding with Jeffrey Epstein way back 10 years ago to try to harm Trump with the connection to Jeffrey Epstein? This has literally been going on the left, folks. This Jeffrey Epstein nonsense for a decade. For a decade. And by the way, if you don't think that there was a tie between Trump and Epstein that could have been used to destroy Trump's candidacy, don't you think it would have been used in 2016? Don't you think they would have used the, hey, Trump had sex with underage girls on the Lolita Express, instead of Trump said untoward things to Billy Bush on an Access Hollywood tape? All right, we will get into that in a little bit more detail coming up in the daily Trump Date. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt and Trump himself on Truth Social, both responding to that. House of Representatives set to begin debate on the bill that would reopen the government any minute now. That debate is expected to stretch late into the night, but it is fait accompli, as they say. The government will reopen. President Trump will sign this measure as soon as he can. Let's get back to Wisconsin, the DPI's report card scam. Wisconsin's Department of Public Instruction, right before the school year started, unilaterally changed how it hands out its annual report cards, changing the cut scores for each level. Schools and school districts are rated on a 5-point scale. Significantly exceeds expectations, meets expectations, meets few expectations, and fails to meet expectations. Would you believe there is not a single district in Wisconsin that fails to meet expectations? Not one. Not one school district in the state of Wisconsin. That's kind of remarkable. The Department of Public Instruction simultaneously says that more than half of the schools in this state either significantly exceed expectations or exceed expectations. That is up from 2024. This despite national test scores that dropped so badly for Black students in Wisconsin that not only does Wisconsin have the highest Black-white achievement gap in the entire country, but Wisconsin is now the worst state in the entire nation in educating Black fourth graders. But remember, not a single school district failed. Certainly not the school districts that have the most Black students: Milwaukee, Racine, Madison. None of them. To illustrate just how absurd this is, the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty compared the report card grades for several Milwaukee public schools with their English language arts national test score achievement levels. Bradley Tech High School got the second highest or third highest. It meets expectations, the third highest grade you can get. So if on a 5-point scale, it got a 3. If it was an actual report card, it would get a C. Meets expectations, right? Bradley Tech meets expectations. 9.7% of Bradley Tech's students meet English language arts expectations in Bradley Tech. 9.7% of students are at grade level, in other words, in reading and writing. These are high school students, 9.7%. Yet somehow Bradley Tech is meeting expectations. Maple Tree Elementary School in Milwaukee exceeds expectations. So it got a 4 out of 5. It got a B. This is an above average school. 12.7% of its students are meeting expectations in English language arts. How exactly is this possible? It's not. DPI's calculation of graduation attendance and absenteeism inflates the ratings for all schools, making a 1-star overall rating, fails to meet expectations, nearly impossible. This, according to the Institute for Reforming Government, 17.1% of students in Beloit do not graduate in 4 years. This is actually kind of staggering. 17%. Nearly 1 in 5 kids in Beloit do not graduate in 4 years. DPI awarded Beloit an A for its graduation rate. It significantly exceeds expectations, despite the fact that 17% of kids take more than 4 years to graduate, not from college, but high school. Now, in order to illustrate just how insane the changes that DPI made are, I actually went back and took a look at the 2004 to 2005 school year, 20 years ago exactly. Back then, there were 4,250 public schools and 420 public school districts. Of those, 15 districts received a failing grade, about 3.6%. 15 out of about 420 districts. This year, there were zero of the 378 school districts somehow failed. Public schools, 6% got a 1, got an F. Failed to meet expectations. 255 schools out of 4,250. Now, we have far fewer schools being rated by the Department of Public Instructions 20 years later, 2024 through 2025, but somehow 0 of the 1,920 schools scored failed to meet expectations. How is this even possible? How? I actually got an email from a public high school teacher who did not want, for obvious reasons, me to identify him or to say what school he teaches at. Hi, Dan. I am a teacher at a public high school, and the school report card also heavily weighed some schools on target population growth. I teach for a school district that exceeded the state average on subject test scores, but since our target population growth, which is non-white students, didn't make enough gains from last year to this year, our high school got meets few expectations. The state's average in test scores were 63.9 in English language arts and 65.6 in math. Milwaukee scored 37.8 and 32.2, which is atrocious, and they scored the same as our district, who scored above the state average on the actual test. But because our non-white population didn't make gains, we got docked incredibly. So Milwaukee got a 59.5 overall, and we were awarded a 1/10 of a point difference, 59.4, 59.6. I'd rather not say for privacy since I'm a Republican teacher, even though we were above the state average for English and math. The DPI is an actual joke that should be dismantled. This is one of the main reasons that MPS and Madison Public Schools scored much higher than they should have because they saw gains from the worst possible results that you could get from target populations, i.e. Black and Hispanic students, and they saw some gains. Those gains were weighted much heavier than actual test scores, actual graduation rates. So high-performing, high-poverty public schools got massive boosts, and so did low-performing, high-poverty public schools. Milwaukee, in other words, did not actually meet expectations. Certainly Bradley Tech and the elementary school that exceeded expectations, despite the fact that 12.7% of its kids can't read at grade level, Maple Tree Elementary. But because they saw enough gains in non-white performance, they got a much bigger boost. In other words, this is not teaching the ABCs properly. It is rewarding teaching DEI as effectively as one possibly can to mitigate some of the losses in student performance and be rewarded as such. We'll be right back.
Dan O'Donnell Show is coming right back.
Dan O'Donnell here with my friend Daniel from Bayview Shade and Blind. Daniel, I love the work you guys did at our new home, and more importantly, my wife loves it too.
Appreciate that, Dan. We work with folks who really value having a trusted guide to walk them through the whole process, from choosing the right window treatments to professional installation. That's how we do it at Bayview Shade.
And you know what, Daniel? It really shows. Go to BayviewShade.com. They're sharing a little sunshine from their family to yours for 99 years.
Get 2 mattresses for the price of 1.
Whoa, what are you doing?
We don't do sales at Penny Mustard.
I know.
So how can we offer 2 mattresses for the price of 1?
Because with a flippable 2-sided foam or coil mattress from Penny Mustard, it's like having 2 mattresses for the price of 1.
You'll give each side more time to breathe.
And your mattress will last twice as long.
See? 2 for 1.
2-sided mattresses available every day at Penny Mustard Furnishings.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
I'm Warshawski Law's nationally certified legal investigator, John Schatzman. If you or someone you love is horribly injured, Sign and Settle Lawyers should scare you more than blocking Clay Matthews on a Klingon battle cruiser. Insurance companies value your claim based on the quality of your law firm. Settlement Mills investigating your injuries is a lawyer who never tried a case looking at police reports. With Warshawski in your corner, our own investigator will be on the way to record the scene of your injury, interview witnesses, usually within minutes of your call. It's not uncommon for me to document and preserve evidence police officers did not see as significant. Meticulous examination of physical evidence, all documentation, and every medical record makes certain nothing is missed. Warshawski will show how your losses could have been prevented and exactly why they were not. Insurance companies are risk adverse. Warshawski's unique skills make record cash settlements possible. And when settlement is not forthcoming, your best outcome at trial. Injured, it is about the money. Warshawski.com.
At Advent, we help sleep apnea sufferers avoid the CPAP machine by getting your nose and throat working with our unique Advent approach that you won't find elsewhere.
Gold is at an all-time high, so now's the smart time to turn your unwanted gold, silver, or diamonds into cash at Robert Hack Diamonds. Old class rings, broken chains, even dental gold or silver flatware could be worth more than you think. Sit down with a trusted expert for a no-pressure cash offer. They've treated clients with dignity and fairness for over 64 years. If in doubt, bring it in. It's not just about gold, it's about trust. Robert Hack Diamonds, 146th and Greenfield Avenue in Brookfield and 76th and Layton in Greenfield.
Things are going to be busy between now and the end of the year. Holiday gatherings, school functions for the kids, and family get-togethers. Hi, it's Jay, and the last thing you want to worry about this holiday season is whether your roof is going to make it through another Wisconsin winter. Well, one call to Semperfi Roofing to schedule a free 21-point roof inspection will put your mind at ease. A highly trained roof inspector will carefully examine every inch of your roof, checking the 21 most common areas of roof failure, and then go over the results with you and discuss your options going forward. Most of the time, problems can can be fixed with a minor repair, but if it is time for a new roof, Semperfi offers money-saving discounts and financing terms to make paying easy. And don't forget, Semperfi is so confident in their skilled installers, they offer a 50-year leak-free guarantee on every roof they install. 50 years. So call or go online to schedule your free 21-point roof inspection today. Call 262-600-2910, 262-600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
Believe it or not, it's been 6 months since tax day. It's time to start taking a look at your plan. Fortunately, we're still in a window of time where you can review, strategize, and make many changes to your 2025 tax plan. But the days are going by quickly. The team here at Annex Wealth Management can help. Our tax and retirement specialists can review your goals and your current situation and walk through options that might build confidence on where you're headed. Contact Annex Wealth Management today.
The free iHeartRadio app is your home for the holidays.
It's the most wonderful time.
Open the app and search Holiday and find B97.3, Milwaukee's home for the holidays. Plus stations playing specialized holiday music, Christmas classics, Christmas jazz, country, plus tons of playlists, even podcasts. Our gift to you, the perfect holiday soundtrack. Open the free iHeartRadio app now and search Holiday to start listening.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Military Matters.
European NATO allies have logged 14 sightings of unidentified drones in just 2 months, another example of how drones are becoming a global menace, especially near military installations. The latest incident occurred above Belgium's Klein-Brogel Air Base, reportedly home to U.S. tactical nukes. The unmanned drone reportedly hovered over a Belgian tactical fighter aircraft base for 2 nights. The incident is reminiscent of the drone sightings over U.S. bases like Langley Air Force Base last year. According to Belgian authorities, these drones came in 2 waves. First, small drones that tested the radio frequencies, and then larger drones that drew concern from the public, designed to create panic. Belgium's Defense Minister Theo Franken confirmed multiple drones were spotted over the NATO-linked base last weekend, adding a drone jammer was used but without success. He suggested the flights may have been part of a spying operation. For Military Matters in Washington, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
Meta, the parent company of Facebook, as well as Instagram, will spend more than $1 billion building a data center in Beaver Dam. Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation making the announcement today. The campus will span over 700,000 square feet. Meta says the data center will bring about 100 jobs to the area and support 1,000 construction trade jobs. The data center planning to go online in 2027. Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. According to a press release from Meta, the company says it will restore 100% of the water consumed by the Beaver Dam data center to local watersheds. Additionally, the facility will use dry cooling, which means that there will be no water demands for cooling once it is operational. Now, this is big because one of the big fears about data centers, including the fears that killed the big one from Microsoft in Caledonia about a month ago, is that it is going to single-handedly destroy and dry up Lake Michigan, that it is going to use so much water that we just aren't going to be able to replenish it. Now, this is very, very similar to the concerns that were initially raised by Democrats surrounding the Foxconn project, that, oh my gosh, water levels in Lake Michigan will go down because this Foxconn plant is just going to use so much water. That's actually not true. In fact, pretty much everything opponents of these data centers think they know about them is totally wrong. A massive data center uses about 1.6 million gallons of water a day. Now, that sounds like a lot, right? It's about as much as a medium-sized golf course uses. And by the way, since they're using dry cooling, most of these plants use no water at all. Data centers, 40% of them, in fact, that are being newly constructed don't use any water to cool them. There are technologies like liquid immersion, direct-to-chip cooling, or what this Meta data center in Beaver Dam is planning, simple dry cooling, which uses air to cool off the processing, to cool off the chips that are used to power generally artificial intelligence. That's what these data centers need. It is a massive computing operation. You need a ton of computing power in order to power the needs of AI. Just think of what your average large language model, or LLM AI, is able to do. Ask it any question, do any research, write any term paper or news article or press release or anything. No matter how obscure, most large language models are able to pull the answer for you or do whatever it is you ask them to do in a matter of seconds. That takes an immense amount of computing power. As a result, I want you to think about your laptop. When you're doing a whole lot on your laptop, it heats up, right? It's got a fan inside and that cools it off. Well, that isn't sufficient for most data centers. They require a whole lot of water for cooling. Now, what about the concern about data centers that they're putting a massive amount of strain on the electrical grid? Well, right now they don't. By 2030, the federal government estimates that the data centers that are in existence will consume about 8 to 10% of the electricity in the United States. Now, that sounds like a lot, right? Air conditioning consumes 12% of America's electricity today. So when you turn on your air conditioning, you are contributing to a bigger strain on the electrical grid than AI data centers are projected to have in 5 years, when there will be way more data centers in operation. Now, the idea that they're spoiling the natural beauty of the land is indeed a legitimate concern. And the one in Caledonia would have indeed, I guess, been put on farmland that people didn't want in their backyard. This is a classic NIMBY concern. The overwhelming majority of data centers in the United States are actually in currently existing industrial parks. We're not tearing down farmland. We're not paving paradise to put up not a parking lot, but a data center. In fact, data centers right now currently occupy about 0.02% of commercial land. A 100-acre data center campus typically will employ 500 high-skilled jobs. What is the average salary at a data center? Well, the median is about $110,000. And there are always multiplier effects. When you get 100, 200, 300, 500 people coming into an area, you will get new restaurants. You will get new apartment buildings. You will get development because there is more of a demand for whatever it is. And yes, while data centers typically will get tax breaks, property taxes still are massive. In Loudoun County, Virginia, for example, which is turned into a pretty big data center magnet, they are getting $1 to $3 million per acre in taxes every single year. The reality is that the data centers are going to be built. They're going to be built somewhere, and it is far better to build them in a place where you can take advantage of the tax revenue of them, because companies are going to build them somewhere. Could be in America, could be in Bangladesh. frankly, given the massive demand for AI and the manner in which AI is very likely to revolutionize this country, I would much rather have control over where the AI is powered and where the data that powers it is stored. I would rather have them in the United States. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. Unhinged Lib next.
Classical conservatism. Contemporary style. The Dan O'Donnell Show is coming right back.
From the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington Total Traffic Center.
Solid delays traveling westbound on 94 from the Marquette interchange to Hawley, eastbound between 84th and Hawley, southbound on 4145 slowing in pockets, Highway 145 down to Hampton. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
What if I can guarantee the price of Bitcoin will be $1 million in 2030? Well, I can't, but I can guarantee you'll save a lot of money on blinds at my company, Blindster.com. Free samples, free shipping, and guaranteed to fit. Shop at Blindster.com today.
Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. Everybody loves this month. Thanksgiving, right? But don't forget Black Friday. It's the time of the year where you can get some amazing deals. Well, at the Lynch family of dealerships, they've got Black Friday savings all month long. Lynch has restocked its inventory so you can shop over 1,300 vehicles either on the ground or online at shoplynch.com. They've got trucks, cars, SUVs for the family, but the best part is there's no need to wait for hours in line or to put yourself in danger at a department store or big box store, because the Lynch family has your back. Black Friday savings all month long. Plus, you get your windshield and paint protected to get ready for those brutal winter months coming up. And that's why I highly recommend the Lynch family of dealerships. Best place to start shopping right now, shoplynch.com. That's shoplynch.com.
Bob from Redefined Realty here. I'd written my own ads for 20 years.
Creative genius. Here. Same. Well, Einit's ads and 100 other businesses' ads.
Writing your own ads, you kind of get stuck repeating the same message, different words, but the same perspective.
Before introducing Easy Home Bidder, Bob came to Einet to brand his brainchild, MLS Listing Backed by Auction. It's brilliant. MLS guarantees the home is found. Auction guarantees the highest sale price. Period.
Einet branded it, wrote our story, knocked our marketing out of the park. When you think of selling your home, you know MLS and auction together is the right choice.
Redefined also benefits from unparalleled radio buying power, industry influence, and extracurricular enhancement of being part of the Einet community. More than 1,000 businesses working together for each other's successes.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. Einet is improving the economy one business at a time.
EinetDishWeb.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Buyers, sellers, real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve with Grieve Law. If you're charged with a drunk driving, you're not just looking at a ticket. You're looking at a permanent mark on your record that can affect your career and your ability to rent a car or travel internationally, not to mention the classes you'll need to take or the ignition interlock device that you'll have to install. Your license will be revoked, and even with a work permit, you're one long meeting or traffic jam away from driving revoked and facing up to 1 year in jail. That's a lot more than just a ticket. And if you pay the ticket without a fight, you are agreeing to be on the hook for all of it. At Grieve Law, we believe one mistake shouldn't define your life. Our seasoned criminal defense attorneys focus on OWI cases with a track record of getting results. We examine your case, challenge field sobriety tests, scrutinize breathalyzer accuracy, and expose the weaknesses in the prosecution's case. If you have been arrested for an OWI, you're facing serious consequences. But with Grieve Law in your corner, you are far from facing them alone. Contact Grieve Law for your OWI defense. You are only guilty if you are convicted. GrieveLaw.com.
Jay here, looking through another batch of reviews for Engine and Transmission Exchange. They're relentlessly good, 5 stars across the board, and from both new and returning customers. Maiden says they were fast, pleasant, and professional, and a little cheaper than quoted. Nice. Steve says honest and friendly. Jerry says reasonable price. Sandy says their work is excellent and their prices are fair. I totally recommend taking your vehicles there. I've endorsed ETE for many years now without hesitation based on my experiences and yours. Honesty comes up a lot in comments about Engine and Transmission Exchange, as well as a lot of talk about the being less than expected or even free because whatever the ETE techs found was so minor. This is why if you drive past either of their locations, they look so busy. Word is out. Vince and his employees are an experienced, established group of people who will accurately diagnose your problem and will always work to save you money while doing the repair right. They're so good at this that 9 times out of 10, they can diagnose your problem via email if you describe it to them. See enginetrans.com for details. Enginetrans.com. It's engine and transmission exchange.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve with Divergent Family Law, here to talk about facts and myths about divorce. Do you think as long as you play nice, so will your spouse? That's a myth. Many divorces start that way, but before you know it, one disagreement unravels everything you previously thought was settled. Have you heard it's cheaper to get divorced without an attorney? That's a myth. It's not. The assets lost by not knowing what you are legally entitled to are much more costly than an attorney. Have you heard attorneys bill by the minute and will waste time so that they can charge you more? At Divergent Family Law, that's a myth. We offer free consultations for divorce and provide you with a flat quote for representation. You won't have to wonder what you'll get charged. The facts are you'll get your best possible outcome when you have an experienced attorney at your side. Our attorneys have seen it all. They know the laws and they know the judges. They'll make sure that you get your fair share or better. Contact us today at divergentfamilylaw.com.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, back after an incredible adventure in Rome with a group of loyal listeners, courtesy of our friends at Cruisin' Tour. Boy, I miss this, ladies and gentlemen, as awe-inspiring as Rome was, and it truly was, trip of a lifetime. I'll tell you more about it a little bit later on. We've got a great group picture in front of the Vatican on all of my social media at Dan O'Donnell Show, but I genuinely, truly love doing this show. It is the great passion of my life. So too is exploring and exposing the insanity of the left.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
All white people are racist.
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is an unnamed staffer in Democrat Senator Tammy Duckworth's office who misrepresented himself as the attorney of a detained illegal alien to try to get them released. According to a letter sent today to Duckworth, ICE acting director Todd Lyons said the staffer told federal agents he was the attorney of Jose Ismael Ayuso Sandoval, a 40-year-old illegal previously deported 4 times to Mexico and who had a DUI conviction. The letter says the staffer entered an ICE facility in St. Louis, Illinois, October 29th. At approximately 1:29 p.m., an individual who, according to publicly available information, is employed as a constituent outreach coordinator in your Senate office, entered the field office lobby and, in a discussion with a federal officer, claimed to be Mr. Ayuso's attorney. He demanded to speak with his client. The staff member allegedly did so to gain access to the detainee and seek his release from custody, and he accomplished it by falsifying an official Department of Homeland Security form. He did all this to try to get a 4-time deported, drunk driving, illegal alien out of ICE custody. Who does he think he is? Hannah Dugan? That unnamed Tammy Duckworth staffer. By the way, that is a Fox News exclusive story, exclusive to, I believe, Bill Malugin. Yep, Bill Malugin, great reporter, broke that story. He is your unhinged liberal of the day.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Listen to Benjamin Yount, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. 2 men were shot earlier this morning in Wauwatosa at the Reserve Apartments, which is on State Street just west of Holly Road. Police are saying this was a targeted incident. A woman from Milwaukee has now been arrested in the death of her 3-year-old son last week.
Aquarius Berry suffered injuries consistent with homicide. A search warrant says the toddler was left in the care of the 34-year-old woman's boyfriend while she took her other children to school. The woman called 911 after finding Aquarius unresponsive on the floor of her home on the city's northwest side. The boy later died at a hospital where medical staff found a large hemorrhage in his abdomen. His mother was arrested Monday night on a recommended charge of child neglect resulting in death. Ted Allen, Wisconsin Radio Network.
And socialism continues to gain more and more popularity within the Democratic Party. Fox's Griff Jenkins.
80,000 strong and growing, and the DSA are feeling emboldened. They're blasting Democrats who caved in the government shutdown, saying this: we condemn the cowardly Democratic Party senators who sold out their constituents to support Trump's deal. It's no wonder the Democratic Party's leadership is less popular than ever. The only thing that can stop fascism is socialism. Democratic socialism is more popular than ever. It's why Zoran Mamdani and Democratic socialists across the country were able to beat the billionaire class last Tuesday.
Checking the Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard. Admirals win in overtime this morning over Chicago, 4-3. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast, powered by ReamerRemodel.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Sunny and warmer today. Should see a high near 52, but it will be breezy. Strong northwest wind gusting upwards of 30 miles per hour at times. Overnight tonight, a few clouds and low 30s. Partly sunny, 56 tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by LubeTech, your local mobile lubricants distributor in Wisconsin. You need a partner you can count on. LubeTech delivers top-tier fluids for heavy-duty automotive and manufacturing applications. Backed by mobile technology, they help you drive performance every day. Get 20% off your first order at LubeTech.com or call them today to get started.
This is the time of the year most of us are checking off our holiday gift list. Identity thieves have lists too, and your personal information might be on that list. Protect your identity with LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every single second and alerts you to the threats you could miss yourself. If your identity is stolen, your own U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to work to fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Make this season about joy, not identity theft, with LifeLock. Save up to 40% off your first year at LifeLock.com with the promo code BECK. Terms apply.
An official message from Medicare.
A couple more minutes and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you got to make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
If you're in the market for new shades or blinds, don't leave it to guesswork online at Bayview Shade and Blind. You can see, touch, and compare products at any of their 3 local galleries in Waukesha, Oconomowoc, or Menominee Falls. Stop in today at Bayview Shade and Blind or visit BayviewShade.com.
Bob from Redefine Realty with a riddle for you. Guess correctly before I give the answer, and you are a winner. Only agents from one real estate company already know the answer. Ready? Pay attention. Here goes. I'm a contest between 4 or 5, even 10 people that only ends when one absolute winner is declared, yet I have 2 winners. What am I? You got it? Are you a winner? Need more time? No, it's not the record at auction sale price of $2 million for a Wu-Tang Clan vinyl record. That's an impressive guess, though. Selling a home? Only Redefined Realty's proprietary method guarantees buyers get every opportunity to pay you maximum dollar and that you will leave closing with maximum profit. One more time. I'm a contest between 4 or 5, even 10 people that only ends when one absolute winner is declared, yet I have 2 winners. What am I? The answer is a Redefined Realty MLS home sale boosted by Easy Home Bidder Auction. Buyers win, sellers win, Let yourself win. Real estate for winners. RedefineRealty.com.
We're the Libby family
at Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
If your bathroom needs work, we're the place to go.
Our people really know their stuff, and we install.
Plus, nobody beats our prices. Remember our slogan?
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
Believe it or not, it's been 6 months since tax day. It's time to start taking a look at your plan. Fortunately, we're still in a window of time where you can review, strategize, and make many changes to your 2025 tax plan. But the days are going by quickly. The team here at Annex Wealth Management can help. Our tax and retirement specialists can review your goals and your current situation and walk through options that might build confidence on where you're headed. Contact Annex Wealth Management today.
Simplify keeps you safe, warm, and dry. For a free estimate, go to simplifyroofing.com.
The Pack will try to bounce back on the road this weekend against the Giants in New York. Hear the game on 95.7 Big FM. Presented by Robert Hack Diamonds. They buy gold. See them in Brookfield or Greenfield.
In 2008, America was in a housing crisis. The subprime mortgage bubble burst and took down the entire American economy. In 2025, we are in a new housing crisis, the implications of which could be even more dire. Welcome to the second hour of the Dan O'Donnell Show. The new housing crisis, an in-depth investigation we will get to in just a couple of minutes. We'll also bring you everything going on in Washington on a busy day as the House is now debating ahead of a vote tonight to end the government shutdown. Daily Trump date coming up. And at the end of this hour, folks, I am telling you right now, you are going to want to be by a radio or have your cell phone on listening to us on the iHeartRadio app. The unsung hero of the day today is absolutely incredible. It's a heartwarming story that just may leave you in tears. I don't want to oversell it, but I am telling you it's an incredible story about dedication to someone, something, if you will, that this person didn't even know. I'm telling you, if you are an animal lover, if you are a lover of kids, I had to read this email a listener sent me 3 times because I just thought it was such a great story. If I am being honest, I believe the rest of the media will pick up on this story, giving me no credit, of course, because I am going to be the one to break it later on this hour. And they are going to be, you will see this story on TV. This is a story that is going to escape what we call the talk radio ghetto, because it has nothing to do with politics other than it was a loyal listener whose name is the exact same as my younger son. Weirdly, he emailed me today and he said, Dan, I've got to tell you this story. I want to nominate this person for Unsung Hero of the Day. I read the email and said, wow, I might actually do this as its own standalone segment. This story is so good. Be sure to be listening to the Unsung Hero of the Day later on this hour. If you want to join us, 414-799-1130. You can also reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email DOD@iHeartMedia.com. Follow us on social, pretty much every social, at Facebook, at X, at Instagram, at LinkedIn, at YouTube. We are streaming everywhere at Dan O'Donnell Show. Wherever you find us on social. We will get you the word this hour in the Fall Fortune Cash Contest in just a second. First, though, it is the Daily Trump Day.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Trump just keeps winning.
It is a win for the administration.
It's also a big win for the United States.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
President Trump and Republicans in Congress are getting a win of sorts as the government shutdown is going to end at some point tonight or more likely very early tomorrow morning. The House is going to vote on the spending bill that passed the Senate earlier this week. It will end the longest federal government shutdown in American history. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt in her press briefing this afternoon.
The Democrats dragged on the government shutdown for 43 days, the longest shutdown in U.S. history. But tonight, thanks to Republicans, the White House is very hopeful that this shutdown is going to come to an end. The damage caused by the Democrats with this reckless government shutdown cannot be forgotten. It is entirely the fault of the Democrat Party. Just look at the vote count. Hundreds of thousands of federal employees have missed their paychecks. Tens of billions in wages and benefits were withheld, impacting vulnerable families. Millions of low-income Americans missed their SNAP benefits. Nearly 20,000 flights at airports across the country were delayed due to staffing shortages, causing Americans to miss family events, vacations, and work obligations. According to Airlines for America, an estimated 5.2 million travelers have had their flights disrupted over the course of the Democrat shutdown.
President Trump will sign the bill reopening the government shortly after tonight's House vote. It will fully fund the federal government through January, as well as rescind all of the permanent job cuts that President Trump enacted during the shutdown and nothing else. No Obamacare subsidies, nothing Democrats claimed that they wanted, which is why they responded to 12 senators breaking ranks and joining Republicans in voting to end the shutdown as a massive betrayal. And they are also taking a look at new leadership in the Senate. Now, Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, also today took aim at the new Epstein emails, time to be released just as the government reopens, to take the focus off of how badly Democrats got rolled. And she raised the point that we discussed earlier. The redacted victim mentioned in those emails is Virginia Giuffre, who has repeatedly said President Trump did absolutely nothing untoward with any underage girl or anyone else for that matter.
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep. And this email you refer to with the name of a victim that was unredacted now and has since been reported on in this room, so I will go ahead and say it, Virginia Giuffre. And it was CBS's own reporting, Ouija, that recently wrote that Miss Giuffre maintained, and God rest her soul, that she maintained that there was nothing inappropriate she ever witnessed, that President Trump was always extremely professional and friendly to her. And so I think it's a question worth asking the Democrat Party, and you should all go ask them after this briefing, of why they chose to redact that name of a victim who has already publicly made statements about her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and is unfortunately no longer with us.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. They didn't do that because the narrative is what matters. The real bombshell out of the new emails that were released by the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee today is that a member of the media, Michael Wolff, who has actually written multiple books slamming President Trump, was colluding with Jeffrey Epstein to try to blackmail Trump over their relationship. Nevertheless, expect the media to cover these emails tonight instead of the Dem shutdown surrender. Also at that White House press briefing today, FBI Director Kash Patel announced that China has agreed to tighten regulations on the chemicals used to produce fentanyl.
The People's Republic of China has fully designated and listed all 13 precursors utilized to make fentanyl. Furthermore, they have agreed to control 7 chemical subsidiaries that are also utilized to produce this lethal drug. Effective immediately, essentially, President Trump has shut off the pipeline that creates fentanyl that kills tens of thousands of Americans. These substances are now banned, and they will no longer be utilized by the Mexican drug trafficking organizations or any other DTOs around the world to make this drug.
Patel said that securing that agreement was the sole purpose of his recent trip to China and comes amid an apparent thawing in trade relations between the Chinese and the U.S. China's role in the global fentanyl trade has long been a massive sticking point for the Trump administration in those tariff negotiations. Vice President J.D. Vance interviewed today by Health and Human Services Secretary Bobby Kennedy Jr. at the Maha Health Summit, and he discussed the need for contrarians like Bobby Jr. himself in the scientific community.
There is no way that this country is going to advance unless we're comfortable with people who are willing to challenge orthodoxy. And that's what I think got so broken, not just about the scientific bureaucracy, but probably it was worse in the scientific area than in most other places, is we've got to be comfortable challenging some of these old orthodoxies. And part of that is welcoming people who are a little unusual, because unless you do that, like, you're not going to solve America's problems with McKinsey consultants who say everything the right way all the time. No offense for the McKinsey consultants, because many of whom are very brilliant people, but like you need the consultant mindset. You also need the person who is just thinking about an idea because it's interesting and it's fascinating and it's not being focused on enough in the right way.
Vice President Vance also today pledged that the administration will do all it can to negotiate more favorable deals with drug companies to continue to drive down the cost of prescription medication. New crime numbers out of Chicago show President Trump's federal crackdown on crime, dubbed Operation Midway Blitz, has been a massive success. Fox News with the report today.
DHS putting a fine point on that, putting out some more numbers saying those shootings are down to their lowest in 4 years. Homicides down 16%, and transit crime is down 20% among the other numbers going down. Now, this update includes a list the DHS calls some of the most violent criminal illegal aliens in Chicago, which include Victor Orozco, a criminally illegal alien from Mexico convicted of first-degree murder. This announcement comes weeks of chaotic protests.
All of them shrieking about President Trump sending in federal troops to protect ICE agents conducting operations there. All of them screeching, it seems, about nothing. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your daily Trump Date. Time now for the nationwide keyword in the Fall Fortune Cash Contest. It is check. CHECK, check. You have got until 55 past the hour. That's 4:55 to those of you in, as the great Maha Rushi would say, Rio Linda. That's 4:55. You have until then to go to our website, enter the keyword check to enter the contest for this hour. If your entry is picked at random, you get a check for $1,000 on this, the third last day of the Fall Fortune Cash Contest. So if you haven't won yet, you only have a couple more chances. I promise it's way easier to win than that $950 million Mega Millions prize. Caroline Leavitt also today answered questions at the White House press briefing about the affordability issue, which continues to rear its ugly head in President Trump's second term. The president, of course, was elected largely because of Joe Biden's, yes, age and obvious mental incapacity, but really because he and Democrats destroyed the economy with inflation. He was elected on a promise to make America affordable again. And Democrats, who for 10 months have committed political malpractice by not repeatedly hitting Trump on the fact that everything is still insanely expensive. I got home yesterday, for example, from 5 days in Rome, and we had amazing food on our listener trip. I happened to see an ad on the plane home that the McRib is back at McDonald's. Now, I usually don't go to McDonald's ever. Now, that's not like a snobby thing. I love McDonald's, but I'm also 44 years old and getting fatter with each passing day. I can't eat McDonald's like I did when I was a kid, or even in my 20s, when you actually have a metabolism that can handle McDonald's. So I said, you know what? I'm going to treat myself. I want an all-American meal since we have been eating delicious Italian food for the last 6 days. I'm going to McDonald's. The rest of my family was sound asleep. at about 7:15 p.m. because Rome is 7 hours ahead of us. So my body right now thinks it is 1:20 a.m. So if I fall asleep in the middle of a sentence, please forgive me. I got a McRib extra value meal, and okay, I succumbed to my inner fatty and also got a 6-piece chicken McNuggets. It was $18. $18. I was looking at the menu, the value meal. Do you remember when they had the extra value meal and you could get a double cheeseburger for $1? Double cheeseburger now is $3.99. McChicken used to be $1. This wasn't, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, back when I was in high school or college. This was like 3-4 years ago. McChicken is now $2.49. If that's a value meal, I would hate to see what a regular priced double cheeseburger would be. We have an affordability crisis in this country, ladies and gentlemen. And the president has, in fact, done all he can to bring down the price of as much as he can. In fact, Levitt, during the White House press briefing today, outlined just what the president has done to try to bring down prices.
President Trump and his administration have done so much to lower prices and increase the economic prosperity of the American people. And this president and his team of amazing economic advisors are going to keep working on this issue every single day. In less than 10 short months, President Trump signed the largest middle-class tax cuts in American history, including no tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security, which will guarantee that next year Americans are going to put more money back into their pockets. The president has completely unleashed American energy dominance to help bring gasoline prices to the lowest in 5 years, and we expect them to continue to decrease. And it has also lowered energy costs overall. There is more work to do, but again, the president's deregulatory and pro-American energy agenda is absolutely going to continue to drive down prices. This formula worked in the president's first term, and we expect that it's going to work again.
While this may be true, there is one area that is sort of dominating all others when it comes to what really isn't affordable. Most people can afford an $18 meal at McDonald's. The people who are more likely to eat at McDonald's, though, people who are younger, have less money, people who have lower incomes, it's putting a strain on them. But what they're really not able to afford at all anymore is a home. This is causing a crisis that is having effects that people might not think of. It appears now that after last week's elections, the socialist candidate in Seattle is going to win the mayor's election, unseating Bruce Harrell, a left-wing Democrat, to be sure, but not an out-and-out socialist. Socialist candidate is going to win. Of course, it's a left-wing city, and there's a socialist on the ballot, meaning it takes a week to count the ballots. Wouldn't you know it, the socialist has gained a whole lot of votes in the week since Election Day. This follows an open communist being elected in New York City. How did we get to this point where Bernie Sanders is one of the most popular politicians in America? I would posit that a big reason is because young people, the most likely to be open to socialists and communists running their lives, can't afford a home anymore. According to the National Association of Realtors, the median age of first-time homebuyers is now 40 years old. Compare that to a generation and a half ago, 1981, where the average homebuyer, first time, was 29. Overall buyers, too. The median age of your average homebuyer, median age of all home buyers in the United States, including those who are buying a second home or a third home. You know, you move. I'm not talking about multiple residences. I'm talking about anybody who is buying a home in the United States. The median age right now is 56. First-time home buyers are now just 21% of the market. That's down from 40% just 17 years ago before the housing bubble burst in 2008. The reason? Homes are no longer affordable. In 1980, the median home price was $47,200. Today, it's $415,000. Now, you might be saying, well, Dan, that's just inflation. People in 1980 weren't making nearly as much money. That's true. Median household income was $17,000 back in 1980. Today, it's $74,000. But the median home price back in 1980 was roughly 3% or 3 times the median household income. Today, the median home price is 8 times the median annual income. The house price to income ratio has nearly doubled since 1980. Younger buyers now need massive down payments. A record 19% of the price of the home. That's $79,000 that someone needs to come up with in cash. National Association of Realtors now notes only 1 in 7 renters actually earns enough money to qualify for a median-priced home today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an absolute crisis, and it is impacting everything. Why young Americans are waiting longer to start families, why they are waiting longer to move out of their parents' home, and why they are increasingly turning to socialism. The new housing crisis. It's a big investigation here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We will get into it in just 3 minutes.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
Westbound on 894 just before Loomis, you got a crash off to the right shoulder, delays back to the Mitchell interchange. Southbound 894 slowing in pockets between the Zoo and the Hale, then eastbound to past Loomis. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Grand Appliance. Shop the Black Friday Now sale at Grand Appliance for Black Friday deals like LG counter depth refrigerators starting at just $15.99. Visit grandappliance.com or your local showroom to save all month. That's Grand Appliance. Appliance experts since 1930.
With gold at an all-time high, now is a smart time to turn your unwanted gold, silver, or diamonds into cash. And no one makes it easier than Robert Hack Diamonds. Those old-class rings, broken chains, dental gold, even coins, silver flatware, and tea sets could be worth more than you think. Robert Hack Diamonds will sit down with you, walk through each item, and make you a fair, no-pressure cash offer. Whether you're cleaning out a jewelry box or settling an estate, if in doubt, bring it in. They need your gold to create custom pieces for their customers. So this is a win-win. Stop by Robert Hack Diamonds and see what your forgotten items are really worth. They have a 64-plus year tradition of treating every single client with dignity, fairness, and professionalism. Gold is at an all-time high. The process is simple. The time to cash in is now. Robert Hack Diamonds, 146th and Greenfield Avenue in Brookfield and 76th and Layton in Greenfield.
At Associated Bank, we know running a business is tough enough, so our business is making your business banking easy. That's why we make sure it speaks your language. Business and consumer-linked accounts. How about all your banking all in one place? Oh, Grace Zone. And maintenance fee-free account? Well, free is always good. At Associated Bank, we get you. That's why we've got you. Learn more at associatedbank.com/YouGotThis. Member FDIC.
We use powerful truck-mounted carpet cleaning units designed to remove even the toughest dirt, and certified cleaning technicians who understand the definition of clean.
Edelman Carpet, Furniture, and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman. For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. Make News Talk 1130 WISN your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call,
That's all.
This is where sycophants and chills are shunned, and commitment to the unvarnished truth is sustained. Just one reason that this is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130, WISN.
This is WISN.
America's new housing crisis. Homeownership is largely unaffordable to anyone under the age of about 40. That's why the median age of first-time homebuyers is now 40, up from 29 in 1981. Now, a common refrain for people who bought homes for the first time in the 1980s is that, well, our mortgage rates were much more expensive. And that somehow is making up the difference. In fact, every time I talk about this sort of thing, I will invariably get somebody who says that. In fact, I got two on our adventknows.com talk and text line. In the 1980s, 30-year mortgage rates peaked at about 13%. Homes were a lot cheaper, though. 2.7 times the median annual income. Monthly payments, therefore, averaged about 30% of someone's annual income. Now, mortgage rates are 6 to 7%, but combined payments now average $3,100 per year. That is roughly 50% of income for many young households. The burden of housing costs for young people is astronomically higher than it was in the early 1980s. Student loans average about $37,000 per borrower. Moreover, rents are up 20% from 2020, and those eat into savings. The National Association of Realtors says these are the top two barriers to home buying: student loan debt and high rent, neither of which were a problem generations ago. College was insanely affordable. So too were cheaper apartments. Not only that, the U.S. is now short about 3 to 5 million homes. The 2008 housing bubble decimated housing supply. There were about, I would say, give or take, 1 million new housing starts, meaning apartment buildings going up, new houses, new neighborhoods, about 1 million. In 2025. In the 1980s housing boom, there were about 2 million housing starts per year. Moreover, baby boomers in particular, but older buyers generally, median age of about 63 now for your average home seller, they have, give or take, $300,000 on average in equity, and they can therefore make all cash offers, which first-time home buyers simply cannot. Competition from older buyers and baby boomers in particular, who are not moving out of their houses at the same rate, at the same age that their parents' generation, the World War II so-called greatest generation, did, or generations before them who quite simply died a lot sooner than modern day older people because of massive advancements in medical technology. As a result, people are living in their homes longer. Not only that, though, baby boomers are unique in that they're not going to retirement communities. They are not downsizing at the same level that prior generations did, where they would go get a condo in Florida or something like that. They're keeping the big house and also buying condos in Florida. One of the biggest drains on supply, though, has been You guessed it, immigration. Net immigration, both legal and illegal, has surged to 2.7 million in 2022 and 3.3 million in 2023. Pre-2020, pre-Joe Biden, we had about 1 million people in net migration. That is, more people coming in than who are leaving. That has added roughly 500,000 extra households per year. Now, new immigrants, especially illegal ones, they don't buy houses, they rent. 90% of households headed by recent arrivals, those from 2022 to 2024, are renters. Now, this floods the rental market. The Center for Immigration Studies finds a 5% increase in recent immigrants to a given area correlates with a 12% rise in rents for American-born households in affected metro areas. We've seen a much bigger than 5% increase in recent immigrants. In fact, the Urban Institute in 2019, before the massive Biden wave of illegal immigration, found that a 1% immigrant population increase in a given metro area correlates to 1% higher rents and home prices. 1% rent hikes are also found in neighboring areas as native, say, New Yorkers relocate to the burbs or other metros, other boroughs, as illegal immigration spikes crime rates. Now, immigrants boost demand, but there's no correlating increase in supply. Again, 1 million housing starts per year since 2008, 2 million in the 1980s. We need right now between 1.5 million and 2 million housing starts per year just to keep up with the dramatic increase in immigration. You combine this with the fact that hedge funds, private equity firms, and other corporations are buying up housing supply to rent either homes out, and other homeowners are turning their houses into Airbnbs or other rental properties, vacation rentals in areas of Florida and touristy locations. For example, we just got back from Rome. Rome is getting unaffordable largely because most local Romans don't actually live in the city anymore. They turn their apartments, and there are no houses pretty much in the Roman city limits, all apartments, because they've had to keep the city as it was since the Renaissance. Because of historical preservation, they're all renting their places out. They're all permanent Airbnbs. We found the exact same thing when we went to Venice a year or so ago. Nobody lives there because it's simply unaffordable, because you are competing with people who are using their homes, or you are competing with companies who are using homes to generate income. When there isn't supply and there is an increase in demand, price massively goes up. So how is this impacting politics? How is this turning a generation of young people, I fear, into socialists or even worse, communists? We'll explore when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Westbound on 94, taking a half hour from the Marquette to Moreland, jammed from the Marquette over to around Hawley. 894 westbound, about 10 minutes between the Mitchell and the Hale. Crash cleanup off to the right shoulder before Loomis. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Tap In Golf in Waukesha and Sussex.
Baby, it's cold outside, but the golf game is hot.
spot at Tap In Golf. Swing year-round on the best indoor simulators in Wisconsin with a full bar just steps from the tee box. Warm up your swing in Sussex and Waukesha. Tap In Golf, where winter never wins.
Auburn, crimson, gold. When the colors of autumn burst forth, don't forget green. You could stuff your pockets with a ton of green if you play the nationwide Fall Fortune Cash Contest on News Talk 1130 WISN. 9 times each weekday, listen for a keyword to enter, with hourly winners snaring the $1,000 hourly prize.
The Fall Fortune Cash Contest is presented by North Star American Bistro in Brookfield. Classic American fare with a gourmet twist. NorthstarBistro.com.
Bob built a brand over the same 20 years iNet has. I bought multiple properties over those years. Bob gets real estate like I never will.
In real estate, every brokerage does the same thing. MLS. Adding auction bidding to MLS, I knew if iNet branded it, told our story, home sellers would understand and accept this real estate revolutionizing platform.
You can be the best in your industry like Redefined Realty is. Even revolutionize your industry like Redefined Realty has with auction. Yet, it's your story that sells.
You can't tell your story as well as iNet Creative Genius will tell your story.
Real estate for winners is exactly what Redefined Realty and auction has always been.
Steven knocked our brand and marketing out of the park.
Selling a home? If you don't use Redefine's MLS and auction platform, you'll leave closing with less money than you would have. Tragic and that simple.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. iNet is improving marketing for winners.
iNetJustWork.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at ManderCollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
Hi, it's Jerry Bott, and I'm a fan of Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. The best vehicle buying experience I've had in my life by a long shot, and closer than you realize. I'm talking less than an hour's drive from my house in Waukesha County, and about an hour if you're in Madison or Green Bay. Holiday, great dealership, wonderful people, easy trip.
Holiday's year-end sale makes now perfect timing to upgrade. Get our low simplified price, get more for your trade, and score enticing offers on Wisconsin favorites like 2026 GMC Sierra 1500. Now with finance rates as low as 0%, plus beefy cash incentives for thousands in savings for well-qualified buyers when financed with GM Financial. GMC, we are professional grade.
Here's another Holiday fan that you might know.
I'm professional running back Braylon Allen, and I drive Holiday. It's impressive how easy car buying can be with Team Holiday on your side.
Find yours and drive it home today from Holiday Automotive, Fond du Lac, and at holidaygm.com.
It's worth the trip.
I'm Dan Voss from Cut and Go. Ugly and depressing and trees killed off by emerald ash, oak wilt, and Dutch elm disease are dangerous for friends and loved ones, even a potential liability. Slowly rotting, left-standing hardwood trees can weigh tens of thousands of pounds. Even seemingly smaller branches can weigh tens, even hundreds of pounds. With Cut and Go, there is no reason to risk injury or property damage. Live trees in precarious placement for an arborist to remove over homes, garages, commercial buildings, luxury landscapes are easily and safely laid on the ground by Cut and Go's NCCER crane-operated certified remote control automobile mounted articulating crane grapple saw operators. You can save big money and stock up on firewood by having Cut and Go put your trees on the ground for you to clean up or have a bonfire or split firewood, or we can take it all with us when we leave. A Tons of Trees movement. cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com. Once again, that's cutandgotrees.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. If you're living with a chronic condition like diabetes, chronic heart failure, or a cardiovascular disorder, you might count on extra support with your health care too. That's why United Healthcare offers chronic special needs plans with extra benefits and a large provider network to choose from. Visit uhc.com/Medicare to find out if you qualify today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Wisconsin can count on. Provider network may vary in local market.
Here's the tale of the daily med fill. Same old pharmacy, same old bill, but those prices kept rising higher still.
Still the same as Wrangler Road Inn. Cool as can be. At GoodRx, saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. Deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little lamp does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Hey, it's Ed Helms, host of Snafu, my podcast about history's greatest screw-ups. On our new season, we're bringing you a new Snafu every single episode.
32 lost nuclear weapons. You're like, wait, stop? What?
Yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of history, a whole lot of funny, and a whole lot of fabulous guests. Paul Scheer, Angela and Jenna, Nick Kroll, Jordan Klepper. Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Snafu with Ed Helms, and listen now.
America's new housing crisis. A special investigation here on the Dan O'Donnell Show continues. Housing is the number one trigger for young people to start thinking, hey, maybe those communists are onto something. Think about it. Young people get out of college and they make a good salary, but they can't afford a home. Not a McMansion or an awesome house, but a starter home. That gets them thinking, hey, I did everything right, but it's the system that's broken. And capitalism itself has failed me. A Harvard youth poll released this spring found 62% of 18 to 29-year-olds believe, quote, capitalism does more harm than good. In 2016, same question was asked. 42% of 18 to 29-year-olds said the same thing. That's a 20-point gap in 9 years. Top reason stated today that capitalism does more harm than good, according to young people, quote, housing is unaffordable for regular people. According to a Pew Research survey in 1990, people under 30 asked, does hard work guarantee success? In 1990, 68% said yes, hard work guarantees success. What is success? Well, I would define success as being genuinely happy in who you are. You have great relationships with your family and friends and loved ones. You do something that you're passionate about, and you have a nice home, a home that you can be proud of, right? The traditional definition of success is what? The American dream, right? The wife, the kids, the dog, the picket fence in the suburbs, not affordable. 68% of people under 30 said hard work guarantees success in 1990. Do you know what the percentage is today? 26%. If you're wondering why so many people in 2024 flocked to Donald Trump, it wasn't because the under 30 crowd suddenly became way more conservative, although I do fundamentally believe that this may be the most conservative generation in decades. It's because they couldn't afford their lives under Joe Biden. Number one reason young people said they voted for Trump was to tear down the system, was to make things affordable again, make America great again, make America function properly again. Inflation in the Biden era, largely driven by government handouts and a massive increase in immigration, both legal and illegal, which caused a sudden competition for every single resource imaginable. I mean, think about it. All of a sudden, 10 million people are here that weren't just a couple of years ago. We still have fundamentally the same number of apartment buildings, fundamentally the same number of houses, but now we have 10 million more people all competing with them. What do you think that does to the price of those housing units. What do you think that does to the price of eggs, of coffee, of bacon, of everything? Now, imagine that all of the people coming in are also getting payments from the government that entices them to come in. Now, add to that, people are living a whole lot longer than they used to. So your average baby boomer at age 74 isn't going to sell their house. They're in great shape. They're planning on living another 20 years. And oh, by the way, their kids and grandkids really can't afford to own a house of their own. So mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, they still have to host Thanksgiving and Christmas. And those young people who are getting squeezed out of housing by all of these downward pressures are all of a sudden taking a look. They're taking a look at Donald Trump and saying, hey, he's promising to do something. He's promising to get rid of all of these illegals who are competing with me for those resources, whether it's jobs, whether it's housing, or whether it's basic necessities. And in 9-10 months, I haven't seen any results. Now we've got this guy in New York City who's promising to take care of everything, to freeze rent, to make sure that housing is a basic human right, and I am guaranteed to have the apartment or condo or home of my dreams. It's very enticing. And it's the biggest reason that we have a generation of people who view politics not through the prism of ideology or philosophy, but as a purely transactional proposition. I will vote for the person who is going to promise to make my life better. As Rush Limbaugh very famously said when Barack Obama won a second term, in a nation of children, Santa Claus wins. When you have got government and you have got people who want to be elected to government promising to give people who truly feel like they have done everything right, but simply can't get the American dream, it's more elusive than ever before, that becomes very seductive to them. And that's why this housing crisis is threatening to reshape everything in this country if President Trump and Republicans don't act and act fast.
From the place you want to go, Lynch McGuanago Traffic Center.
Westbound on 94, taking a half hour from the Marquette to Moreland, jammed from the Marquette over to around Hawley. 894 westbound, about 10 minutes between the Mitchell and the Hale crash. Cleanup off to the right shoulder before Loomis. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Tap In Golf in Waukesha and Sussex.
Think your swings got game? Prove it at Tap In Golf's indoor tournament on November 15th. Play on top-tier simulators, sip from a full bar by the tee box, and compete in Sussex or Waukesha. Learn more at tapingolfbar.com, where winter never wins.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson. The Falls and New Berlin. Additives, chemicals, and toxins in your diet can miswire the way your genes express themselves. Food is critical for health. Increased energy, better sleep, reversing chronic disease. A healthier, happier, pain-free you is simple. Schedule your free Total Health consult. Holistic health coaches will guide you to a healthier, happier, truly you. Seed oils, the #1 source of calories in American diets, were developed as fuel in industrial lubricants. Seed oils cause dozens of chronic illnesses. Big Healthcare solution to nutritional-related illness is their same solution to all health-related problems. Drugs that also alter the way your genes express themselves, leaving root causes, making you increasingly sick over time. What they never tell is eliminate seed oils from your diet, and cutting back on sugar will immediately improve your health. It's true. Total Health finds root causes of sickness, including nutritional deficiencies, then helps you, the whole complete you, achieve wellness. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
Are you on track to achieve your retirement plans? Hi, I'm Jeff Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We've recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move to Creative expands our ability to provide comprehensive wealth management, investment advisory, and retirement planning services. Now is the time to put your lifetime of hard work into action. For over 37 years, we've helped clients toward making their retirement dreams become a reality, and we'd like to help you too. And the best part, your plan will be completely tailored to you. Our in-house team of specialists will take the time to learn about you and your family, review your current situation, and find out what your goals are. Then we'll design a plan to help you get there. To get started, request your free meeting today with one of our fiduciary advisors by visiting creativeplanning.com. Whether you have met with us in the past or this will be your first meeting with us, we're excited to introduce Kowal Investment Group to you as Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com today.
40 years ago, being informed was about reading the newspaper and watching the nightly news. Now, with information coming at you at the speed of light, being truly informed is a complex proposition, a more comprehensive process. At WISN, our show hosts frame stories, issues, and topics with both facts and unique analysis. And that leaves you with a richer understanding of the world around you. It's the perfect blend of information and insight. Stay informed all day, every day on WISN.
Jason, what are you singing?
Working on a new jingle to promote Capital's $49 drain clearing. When your sink fills up with gunk, don't stress, don't whine. It's only $49.
Don't take this the wrong way, man, but I'd stick to plumbing, heating, and cooling if I were you.
That's fair, but people need to know that we clear clogs for only $49.
Fine, but I would have rhymed gunk with junk. It's so obvious.
CapitalCares.com. You've held on to that old jewelry for years. Maybe it was a class ring, a broken chain, or a silver flatware from your parents' home. It meant something once, and it still does. But now it could mean something new. A chance to turn those tucked away treasures into real value at Robert Hack Diamonds. With gold at an all-time high, there's never been a better time to bring in your unwanted gold, silver, or diamonds. At Robert Hack Diamonds, you'll sit down one-on-one in a relaxed, respectful setting. They'll walk you through your items carefully, from coins and jewelry to sterling tea sets and even dental gold, and make you a fair, honest cash offer. No pressure, just real people who understand that sometimes it's more than metal, it's memories. If in doubt, bring it in. You might be surprised at what it's worth. 64-plus year tradition of treating every single client with dignity, fairness, and professionalism. It's not just about gold, it's about trust. Robert Hack Diamonds, 146th and Greenfield Avenue in Brookfield and 76th and Layton in Greenfield.
If you're in the market for new shades or blinds, don't leave it to guesswork online at Bayview Shade and Blind. You can see, touch, and compare products at any of their 3 local galleries in Waukesha, Oconomowoc, or Menominee Falls. Stop in today at Bayview Shade and Blind or visit BayviewShade.com.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
We report, you decide. Factual, fair, and balanced coverage. Your exclusive home of Fox News Radio. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
This, I believe, is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, issues facing this country, the housing affordability crisis that has priced pretty much everybody under the age of 40 out of home ownership. We, as you might imagine, spent a lot of time on this, the new housing crisis, a special investigation. We do have 3 minutes left in this hour. Normally at the end of the 4 o'clock hour, we do the unsung hero of the day. We sort of developed this earlier this year as a companion piece to the unhinged liberal of the day. Libs always do insane, crazy things, and we wanted to highlight people who do the right thing. Folks, this story is so good. I want to do it justice and want to devote a little bit more time to it because it is, honest to goodness, everything that is right about humanity. I think I have sufficiently depressed everybody by talking about the fact that many of your children, or many of you listening, if you're in your 20s and 30s, will never be able to afford your own home. I'm gonna uplift you at the beginning of the 5 o'clock hour. I am telling you, folks, you are not going to want to miss this story. It is from right here in Waukesha County, I believe. It is near Slinger. Let me see where the emailer said it was. Near Lisbon. Excuse me, near Lisbon. It comes to us from the Twin Pines neighborhood. And it is all about the love people have for their neighbors, even complete strangers, and puppies. Now, if that doesn't tease you to want to listen after the 5 o'clock news, I don't know what will. Oh, by the way, we also have $1,000 on the line in our Fall Fortune Cash Contest. We will play one final time today here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. But to wrap things up on the housing crisis, and I suppose we will be talking about this extensively, I may at some point this week just open up the phone lines on this because it is such a big topic. Coming up next hour, I also want to talk with Josh Shulman, Washington County Executive Republican candidate for governor, because he unveiled a sweeping plan to overhaul elections here in Wisconsin. I want to highlight that. We're going to talk with Josh coming up in about 20, 25 minutes, somewhere in there. And we also have to get to a vote set on a bill that I've been telling you about for 2 weeks, if not 3, on giving a cartel power to the native tribes on sports betting. All of that coming up right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Listen to Clay and Buck weekdays 11 to 2 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. The latest state report card shows that 94% of schools in Wisconsin either meet, exceeded, or significantly exceeded expectations last year. Some people say, though, those grades are far too high. Quentin Claybon is with the Institute for Reforming Government.
There's not a single one-star district in all of Wisconsin. Not Milwaukee, not Beloit, not Racine, not Menominee. And that's, I think everybody can think of a few districts in Wisconsin that fail to meet expectations.
Fireworks are coming back to Wauwatosa next 4th of July. Fox 6's Carl Deffenbaugh.
This past year, the city changed the decades-old tradition to a drone display. A number of other areas in the Milwaukee area, including Milwaukee, did just that. City leaders say the fireworks will be back, though, on Swan Boulevard, south of Hoyt Park, next year.
And the House is set to vote later this evening on a measure that would end the record-breaking government shutdown. Checking the Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard, Bucks are in Charlotte tonight to take on the Hornets. Tip time, 6 o'clock. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast, powered by ReamerRomano.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Skies will be clear tonight with more sunshine expected as we head into Thursday's forecast. Temperatures will continue to warm to the 60s by Saturday, cooling off as we head towards next week in the 40s with rain chances on the way by the start of the week. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Holly Baker.
This report is sponsored by Grand Appliance. Shop the Black Friday Now sale at Grand Appliance for Black Friday deals like LG counter depth refrigerators starting at just $15.99. Visit grandappliance.com or your local showroom to save all month. That's Grand Appliance, appliance experts since 1930.
Believe it or not, it's been 6 months since tax day. It's time to start taking a look at your plan. Fortunately, we're still in a window of time where you can review, strategize, and make many changes to your 2025 tax plan. But the days are going by quickly. The team here at Annex Wealth Management can help. Our tax and retirement specialists can review your goals and your current situation and walk through options that might build confidence on where you're headed. Contact Annex Wealth Management today.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services and host of the Designer Yard Show, heard Saturdays at 1 o'clock right here on WISN. Would you like to know the best way to keep your trees and shrubs healthy and attractive? Regular pruning, especially dormant pruning performed in the winter months. Why winter? Well, first, we can see your trees and shrubs structure best when the leaves have fallen, allowing our pruning experts to easily find and remove diseased and damaged wood and correct any structural issues. And second, pruning is not as stressful when your plants are dormant. Pruning keeps your plants vibrant, properly sized, and best of all, they flower more. Pruning also extends longevity, saving you thousands of dollars in replacement costs. Please call us now because fall is the best time for our experts to perform a complimentary evaluation of your ornamental plants. Discover the wonders of nature and vibrant trees and shrubs. Call Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Central Office Systems managed IT services come with 24/7, 365 North American tech support. Available in less than 1 minute by phone, converting IT risk and liability into assets. CentralOfficeSystems.com. That's CentralOfficeSystems.com.
This is the time of the year most of us are checking off our holiday gift list. Identity thieves have lists too, and your personal information might be on that list. Protect your identity with LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every single second and alerts you to the threats you could miss yourself. If your identity is stolen, your own U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to work to fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Make this season about joy, not identity theft, with LifeLock. Save up to 40% off your first year at LifeLock.com with the promo code BECK. Terms apply.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
From the road to the roof, S&K will fix your plumbing problems 24/7.
When you need to know what it all means, that's when you need us. Inform. All day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Kowal Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only. Past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. This is Tom Krieger with your afternoon business report. Major averages were mixed today, with the Dow rising to a new record. Investors are keeping a close eye on Washington as the federal government is expected to end the record-breaking shutdown this week. Shares of Advanced Micro Devices climbed 8% in response to robust long-term growth targets made at its Analyst Day, including an internal forecast that the company's data center revenue will jump 60% annually in the next 3 to 5 years. At the close, the Dow was up 326, S&P 500 up 4, and the NASDAQ down 61. From Creative Planning, I'm Tom Krieger.
It's a story about kids, puppies helping neighbors in need. It is one of the best I have gotten, the unsung hero of the day, coming up in just a second. First, though, on the Dan O'Donnell Show, your 5 o'clock keyword in the Fall Fortune Cash Contest, dollar, D-O-L-L-A-R, dollar. You have got until 5:55 this evening to go to our website and enter the keyword dollar to enter the contest for this hour. If your entry is picked at random, 1,000 of those dollars in your pocket. All right, we have been teasing this all afternoon, and I promise you it is worth it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time now to name the unsung hero of the day. Today's unsung hero of the day is Chris Berger, who lives near Lisbon, specifically in the Twin Pines Farm neighborhood. And I received the following email from her neighbor, a man whose name is Chris. In fact, I don't want to give you his full name, but I kind of already spoiled it. It's the same. He has the exact same name as my son, as well as a famous actor. This comes from Chris O'Donnell. Not my teenager, not the guy who played Robin in the Batman movies, but the Chris O'Donnell from near Lisbon. Here's what he writes. Dan, I would like to nominate Chris Berger as your unsung hero of the day. A family from a close-by subdivision had a 6-month-old puppy run away as they brought him home. He never even made it into the house. After 4 cold nights on the run, without food, water, shelter, and in danger of cars and coyotes, Chris woke up yesterday morning on a mission to catch Tom the puppy, who was seen in her backyard, and get him back to his forever home. She contacted the local Humane Society for advice, and on that advice, went to the Humane Society, put a deposit on a live trap, bought bacon, Vienna sausage, and liquid smoke to lure Tom into the trap. Meanwhile, she contacted a friend who had a drone with infrared technology to identify heat. She then put a message out onto our Twin Pine Farms Facebook page, asking for volunteers to help the drone footage, help view it, and work on getting Tom. My wife and I went to volunteer, not knowing Chris or anyone else who showed up. Another person also showed up with another drone too, and we were all on her driveway reviewing the drone video, and we heard him. We went into the trap. He ate the sausage, but the trap did not close. We reset the trap and left numerous treats to lure Tom back. He came back as we were all there on Chris's driveway. We all got down on the ground. Chris grabbed a bag of bacon and threw a few pieces in his direction. He took some, ate it, and as she was now lying on the driveway, Chris was able to keep throwing bacon closer to her until he was so close she could grab his paws. As she did this, myself and one of the drone operators pinned Tom down and grabbed control of him while Chris got a lead on him, opened her heated garage, and we brought him inside where he was safe. She got him additional food and water as he began to relax, eat, and drink. An hour later, he was reunited with his forever home. If it was not for Chris Berger, who knows when Tom would be caught and safe. She deserves all the credit for catching Tom the puppy. And for that reason, I think she should be your unsung hero of the day. I told you it was an incredible story. Chris Berger, not just your unsung hero of the day, but someone who should be an inspiration to neighbors everywhere. Kudos to you, Chris, and to you, other Chris O'Donnell, for telling me about this story, which to me was truly incredible. Now, I myself have a 6-month-old puppy by the name of Buddy. It sounds to me like Tom the puppy is an enormous puppy. Our puppy is currently about 3 to 4 pounds. We got him, I think he was about a pound, maybe 2. He's a little teddy bear puppy. It's a mix of a Bichon Frise and a Shih Tzu. It is about the most frou-frou dog you can possibly get. Yes, my daughter and wife won the battle over, I had long resisted getting a puppy, but we just brought him home the Friday before Labor Day. So we got him when he was 2 months old. He is not yet. He'll be 6 months old on Christmas. He was born on June 25th. So we got him about as young as you possibly could get him. I couldn't imagine if he ran away before. We actually drove to the breeder's house. It was about 3+ hours away. The entire family got in the car. I actually took off of worked out since I got a 4-day weekend out of it. And then we drove him back, playing with him the entire time. If we didn't even get him into the house and he took off. Now, Buddy is the epitome of an inside dog. He would be way too scared to run away. He doesn't even like walking. We put on his little leash and we'll try to go for a walk outside of our neighborhood. He'll just lay down in the middle of the street. He's having none of it. The only time he will walk is when he's walking back to the house. So no danger of Buddy Boy running away, but I couldn't imagine that pain. I couldn't imagine that hurt for that family. And for Chris to do that for someone she did not know. She just happened to see the dog on, I would presume, a Ring doorbell camera or something like that. And by the way, for anyone else in the media who is looking to contact this person to try to do this story, it is a great feel-good story. It's from near Lisbon. And please contact me. I will gladly give out the contact information of the gentleman who emailed me. I don't have anything beyond his email. And I guess in that sense, I wouldn't be able to verify it's true, except I've got a first-person account. And he said, I don't want any credit. It was all Chris Berger. I mean, I was just, and maybe it's because we just brought home a new puppy, but I just think that is an incredible story. Don't you? Even if you don't have a dog, even if you don't have a pet, even if you don't have a kid, even if you've never brought home, if you've never experienced the joy of bringing home a new puppy or a new kitten or even a new gerbil, a new goldfish. All those of you who are unlucky enough to have your kid win a goldfish at the summer carnival, even if you've never experienced that, to just have that level of love and dedication to your fellow human being to do that for somebody, that is very, very cool. Kudos to you, Chris Berger. All right. The House of Representatives is expected to follow the Senate's lead tonight and pass a government funding bill that would end the longest federal shutdown in American history. It also includes a provision that's going to close a loophole in the 2018 Farm Bill, which legalized the sale of hemp-derived THC products nationwide. It's been known since as the Farm Bill loophole, and it makes it federally legal to sell any hemp-derived THC products if they contain less than 0.3% THC by dry weight. The sale of hemp and cannabinoids that are extracted from hemp therefore became legal across Wisconsin. THCA, Delta 8, CBD, HHC, and THCV, all legal. If the House passes the funding bill, which it is widely expected to, all of those will be illegal. This is a very, very, very good thing. Now, this is not a debate, ladies and gentlemen, about the legalization of recreational marijuana. It is not. In fact, I am not at this point going to take a position on it. I am actually opposed to the regulation or to the legalization of recreational marijuana. I recognize that I am in the minority on this one, and I recognize that Republicans are on the wrong side of public opinion on this issue, much like they are on abortion. I just believe it is horrible public policy to legalize recreational marijuana. But this isn't about legalization. This is about specifically these products. And even if you are the biggest supporter of legalized marijuana in Wisconsin, you should be glad that the hemp-derived THC loophole, the so-called Farm Bill loophole, is closing. Here's why. These products are not safe. Legalized marijuana in the states that have allowed for recreational drug use, they strictly test and regulate all of the products that are sold legally in regulated dispensaries across their states. THC products in Wisconsin that have popped up over the past 7 years at what seems to be 50% of the gas stations in this state have no testing requirements, have no labeling requirements, and often have massive levels of THC in the products, far more than legally allowed, because they're not regulated. A study by the Journal of Cannabis Research, which apparently is really a thing, back in 2023, documented over 100 adverse events of products sold under the Farm Bill loophole, including hospitalizations from acute psychosis, vomiting, and cardiovascular issues, disproportionately impacting young people who mistake these products for harmless CBD gummies. In fact, a murder that shocked Wisconsin and is now getting national attention in Milwaukee, the killing of Ariel Spillner by her alleged friend Jamaica Mills, is being blamed on extreme paranoia bordering on psychosis because of the use of one of these THC products. CDC reported a 92% spike in Delta 8 poison control calls for children who accidentally ingested this stuff from 2020 to 2022. Teenagers comprised 40% of those cases. Now, because of this, more than 20 states have already banned or restricted these sorts of products since 2021. This has led to a sort of patchwork of regulations that kind of does a number on interstate commerce, and it also invites black market THC products. This has also led to a huge spike in people using THC and THC-derived products. FDA survey from last year found 11% of American 12th graders had used Delta 8 in the past year. Before 2018, obviously that number was 0. Yes, there is the old gateway drug argument that has and has not been debunked. Alcohol is every bit the gateway drug that marijuana is, but marijuana is indeed a gateway drug. So too is Delta 8. Because these products are not regulated and because there is not the strict enforcement of 21 and up rules to purchase them, teenagers are purchasing them at high rates. They are getting much higher than maybe they intend to, thinking that a Delta 8 product is just like a CBD oil or a CBD gummy. They are often very psychoactive. They are often very, very dangerous, spiking heart rates, and in one example, leading to such insane psychosis that one friend allegedly shot another. This, of course, is insanely rare, but it is interesting that this homicide occurred just a couple of days before the 2018 Farm Bill loophole is to be closed. Frankly, folks, I don't think it can be closed quickly enough. We will talk with Josh Schoemann, Republican gubernatorial candidate, on his plans to reform elections in Wisconsin. That's coming up next.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter @Dan O'Donnell Show. More of the show is next.
From the Lynch Truck Center in Waterford, Total Traffic Center.
Southbound 43 at Highland Ave, crash on the right shoulder, accident off to the right 894 eastbound at the Mitchell interchange, and 2 left lanes remain blocked southbound 4194 at Highway KR with police activity. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Grand Appliance. Shop the Black Friday Now sale at Grand Appliance for Black Friday deals like LG counter depth refrigerators starting at just $15.99. Visit grandappliance.com or your local showroom to save all month. That's Grand Appliance, appliance experts since 1930.
Believe it or not, it's been 6 months since tax day. It's time to start taking a look at your plan. Fortunately, we're still in a window of time where you can review, strategize, and make many changes to your 2025 tax plan. But the days are going by quickly. The team here at Annex Wealth Management can help. Our tax and retirement specialists can review your goals and your current situation and walk through options that might build confidence on where you're headed. Contact Annex Wealth Management today.
Tracy, why are you wearing those ridiculous running shoes?
It's the deadline dash, Jason. The federal HVAC tax credits are expiring December 31st. Everyone will be racing to get their new furnace and air conditioner installed.
You're right. The clock is ticking and the equipment must be installed by the end of 2025.
Exactly. And the savings are real. The tax credit for a new heat pump alone is up to $2,000.
Call today and we'll help you get your installation scheduled in 2025 so you don't miss out on all of the savings.
Call CapitalCares.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. If you're living with a chronic condition like diabetes, chronic heart failure, or a cardiovascular disorder, you might count on extra support with your healthcare too. That's why United Healthcare offers chronic special needs plans with extra benefits and a large provider network to choose from. Visit uhc.com/Medicare to find out if you qualify today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Wisconsin can count on. Provider network may vary in local market.
Business owners, want to sell your business? At Lake Country Advisors, our team will meet with you face-to-face and will answer all your questions confidentially. Visit LakeCountryAdvisors.com and schedule a free consultation. Local, experienced, and trusted. We are Lake Country Advisors.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. Make News Talk 1130 WISN your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
The most accurate, complete news about Milwaukee every hour, every day. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
We are expecting a vote. I'm guessing probably 2 a.m. Democrats are going to use the opportunity to debate the Senate's spending bill, which would fund government through the end of January. It's a continuing resolution that was originally going to fund government through, I believe, November 21st. Well, that's in 9 days, so they needed to amend the dates. It's called a continuing resolution because it continues to fund government at current levels. Democrats got nothing. They caved. They folded. They lost the battle over the shutdown, but it did throw a monkey wrench into President Trump's agenda for 43 days. So maybe, just maybe, they won more than they think they did. And yes, I am a big fan of the 2018 Farm Bill loophole being closed that allows unregulated THC products. A listener reminds me on the adventknows.com talk and text line, THCA, one of these hemp-derived products, when you heat it up, i.e. when you light it to smoke it, it converts into THC Delta 9. It is the exact same thing as marijuana. There is no difference between that and marijuana. It's a horrible loophole. It always has been. So I'm glad it's going to be closed. All right. One of the best policy proposals I have heard in literally years comes to us for reforming Wisconsin's elections from Republican gubernatorial candidate and Washington County Executive Josh Schoemann, who joins us live on the phone right now. County Executive Schoemann, welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Thanks for having me, Dan. Puff, puff, pass, my friend.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Puff, puff, pass.
Oh, geez, puff, puff, pass. Yeah, are you at your local gas station getting some? Are you loading up on Delta 9 gummies before the loophole closes?
No, I'm up by the UP grabbing my stash just like it's the old Oleo days, except now it's weed.
Oh my goodness. Good. I needed that laugh. I wasn't sure we were the puff puff pass. I'm like, oh yes. But I do want to say, what do you think of that, by the way? What did you think about the fact that we basically had pretty much every single marijuana product currently legal?
Yeah, I think it's an issue that is past us. And as conservatives, I think we're spending too much time making arguments that are from 1990 and not enough about arguments that need to happen today. I do believe there are some very serious concerns, as you mentioned just a few minutes ago, about the chemical changes that are being made, not only to marijuana itself, but also these hemp derivatives and THC. They are increasing the dosage of THC to such high levels that it's really creating people who are hooked on marijuana, which sounds like antithetical, but this isn't the ditchweed of the 1960s. This is something different.
Yeah.
So I think we need a reasonable solution with sensible regulation. I'm just not sure exactly what that is. I think we need to have a blue ribbon commission and really take a look and study what is the sensible regulation we need. And quite frankly, this is something the federal government needs to get their act together on. What is there, like 28 states or something like that now legalized? Like, it's over, guys. Let's have something that makes sense.
No, I could not agree more with that, nor could I agree more with your election overhaul. This just makes way too much sense. Finally getting rid once and for all of the thoroughly corrupt Wisconsin Elections Commission. And yes, I do say that advisedly. There is no other way to describe this. So it abolishes WEC. It establishes uniform voting rules. It moves all statewide elections to November, which just makes sense. Other states will stop the charade that these elections are nonpartisan, cleans up the voter rolls, and allows for the counting of absentee ballots the day before Election Day. All of these are beyond common sense ideas. Our listeners, and explain why we so badly need these reforms?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think common sense you hit the nail on the head. That's what it's about. I mean, you start with the big thing, the big ticket item, and that's abolishing WEC. I worked as a municipal clerk under the Government Accountability Board. They were a disaster. The legislature changed it, including my primary opponent who voted for it, to make it suck just a little bit less with the Wisconsin Election Commission, but I will tell you it still sucks. You articulated it very well. The Wisconsin Election Commission is nothing more than a system of 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats that are designed to fail. It's designed to, anything that's controversial, it's going to end in a stalemate by design.
And that means it goes to the all Democrat staff. Their decision is the thing that carries the day. I mean, what a scam.
Right. And I mean, flashback to 2020 and 2021, when everybody is extraordinarily upset about all of the election irregularities in 2020. And we go to our elected officials and say, we need some accountability. Something's got to happen. And what do the people in Madison do? They point the finger at the Wisconsin Election Commission and say, oh, that's not our responsibility. And what do the people at the Wisconsin Election Commission do? They point at the legislature and say they need to change the laws. And now we've got citizens of Wisconsin who are supposed to elect people in charge of things running around in circles and able to accomplish nothing. The point of this reform, the biggest ticket item on this list, is to put the power back where it belongs, in the hands of the people. Push power back as close to people across the state as possible. You're going to see this as a huge theme of all of my campaign. By having an elected official in charge, that's not to say that there won't be administrators who are running things just like any other department anywhere. But when we have an elected official in charge, if those same types of election irregularities happen, now we have somebody we get to vote on in a November election when we have the maximum amount of voters and the people can hold accountable. That's how we do things in America. We don't anoint people to run to be appointed to sit on an election commission that are accountable to nobody.
And I guess just to play devil's advocate, though, what we have seen from a number of secretaries of state, and that's where the power usually is vested. Are you saying we should go back to having the Secretary of State run elections in Wisconsin? Is that the elected official, or would there be like an election czar or something like that would be constitutionally created? I think you would probably have to transfer the power back to Secretary of State, if I'm guessing.
I think that's the logical first position you think of. I mean, I think there's now 32, if I'm not mistaken, 32 states that have the Secretary of State that runs elections. It doesn't matter to me, though. I mean, if we decide we have the lieutenant governor, who that position currently has no responsibilities whatsoever, or the state treasurer, which equally has what I think now a mop closet for an office.
And he sits on one board, and that's pretty much it.
Right. I mean, the point being, like, there has to be somebody that the people can hold accountable. I just don't trust the politicians in Madison or anybody else to hold folks accountable. It doesn't work.
Let me play devil's advocates, though. You just said, I don't trust the politicians in Madison. Well, we would then be voting for a politician in Madison to do this. And let's face it, I mean, we have Democrats control every executive office in Wisconsin, save for one of them.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. That is the truth. But our American system of a republic, a constitutional republic, allows us to elect our elected officials. It's the people of the state of Wisconsin, no matter who they choose, it's their choice. But you get that choice every 4 years. I get that it's frustrating. And having been an appointed clerk, I know the responsibility. But let's get a little bit more local, because I think that's where it makes the most sense. We do this 72 times over in Wisconsin with partisan elected county clerks.
Good point.
They run elections at the county level.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. And we also have municipal clerks who are running it in the thousands of cities and municipalities in Wisconsin.
Yes, so in some places, even those are elected.
Yeah, exactly. And I completely get where you're coming from on that one. And, you know, it does make a lot more sense. I mean, it's clear the Wisconsin Elections Commission and would you keep the Wisconsin Ethics Commission, or would that power also be vested in the Secretary of State or some other constitutional officer?
I think the Ethics Commission seems to be functioning well. I don't hear a lot of complaints about how they operate. I'm certainly open to that discussion with the legislature. As you mentioned, like, the legislature is the body that has to do this. But the governor is elected to lead, and this is a massive issue that I hear everywhere I go in the state. It's a top 5 issue for voters. They want to know there's a high degree of integrity and fidelity. At the end of the day, they want secure and verifiable elections.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's not that complicated.
Now, why do you think, I have been fighting for this for years and have run into a whole lot of opposition. Why do you think there is such opposition to counting the damn absentee ballots the day before the election, when clerks, yes, they are busy setting up for the following day, election day, first Tuesday in November, whatever. But wouldn't you rather have these ballots counted during the day, not at 10 o'clock at night, in full view of Republican election attorneys, and not in some back room somewhere like we saw in 2020?
Yes. And I think the trust in our system has been so eroded on both sides of the aisle, even back when Hillary Clinton was claiming the election was stolen, on both sides of the aisle, that people don't know whether they can trust that type of a process either. It's why this is such a big issue. And everywhere I go, I visited all 72 counties in 127 days. I've now visited 30 on the second go around. I hear it time and again. It's not just a Republican issue. Moderates and liberals who are reasonable will talk about this out loud. They know having voter ID. I mean, look at the results. There's clearly Democrats who voted for the voter ID constitutional amendment.
Yep.
They know that elections that are secure and verifiable are foundational to our constitutional republic, and we have to get things like this done.
Why do you want to move all elections to November?
Bottom line is, we pretend like April is nonpartisan elections, and yet everybody knows it's the worst kept secret in Wisconsin, and sometimes it's not even a secret. And lately, the Supreme Court justices have been running with labels behind their names, essentially. These are partisan races.
Yeah.
And there's such a small number of people that are voting in April as compared to any November election. There's a small segment of the Wisconsinites who are actually voting. I think we should have the maximum amount of people possible. And quite frankly, I also think the way we do our primaries doesn't make any sense at all. The fact that there's only 12 weeks between the primary in August and the gubernatorial election in November is a joke. Meanwhile, the president, the primary is in April, and they have the whole entire summer to campaign. People get a chance to actually study the candidates and understand the issues, not to mention the fiscal portion of it, which is important but secondary to all of that. I think we need to have all of these elections, and I think the election of Jill Underly is a perfect example. If people would have known what they found out this October about all these sexual deviants still having licenses and kind of being swept under the rug, if they would have known that in November, there's likely no way she gets reelected.
No, absolutely.
And now so I mean, it's a perfect example. And if you have the maximum amount of voters, you've got a lot more people in the pool who are like, wait a minute, what is going on over there? I think it's a totally different game. And the same can be true for Supreme Court races, which have essentially become de facto partisan races.
Yeah, I do not have a single thing in this proposal, Josh, that I disagree with. Josh Schoemann, Washington County Executive, Republican candidate for governor. Thank you, as always. Do appreciate you taking the time, sir, and great proposal. Bravo.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Please go to joshschoemann.com to learn more. And let's push the power back to the hands of the people. Let the people decide.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. Schoemann, by the way, spelled Schoemann. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back.
Conservative thought, not just talk. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Westbound on 94 going to be solid from the Marquette to Mitchell Boulevard, taking a half hour out to Moreland. Eastbound taking you 25 minutes. Jam from Highway 100 to Hollywood. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Tap In Golf in Waukesha and Sussex.
Baby, it's cold outside, but the golf game is hot at Tap In Golf. Swing year-round on the best indoor simulators in Wisconsin with a full bar just steps from the tee box. Warm up your swing in Sussex and Waukesha. Tap In Golf, where winter never wins.
Auburn, crimson, gold. When the colors of autumn burst forth, don't forget green. You could stuff your pockets with a ton of green if you play the nationwide Fall Fortune Cash Contest on Newstalk 1130 WISN. 9 times each weekday, listen for a keyword to enter, with hourly winners snaring the $1,000 hourly prize.
The Fall Fortune Cash Contest is presented by North Star American Bistro in Brookfield. Classic American fare with a gourmet twist. NorthstarBistro.com.
The only real estate agent I trust here in Milwaukee is Justin Hoffman with RE/MAX Lakeside. Now, thanks for joining me today. The biggest fear for any home seller is the agent that plants a for sale sign in their yard and then just disappears. How important and consistent would you say communication is between both your team and your client's team?
Yeah, Sean, in business, it's everything. Here, Team Hoffman, we believe consistent, clear communication builds trust, keeps everyone on the same page, and most importantly, eliminates surprise. From the very first call, all the way through closing, you're never going to wonder where things stand. You're going to hear from us every week because we keep you informed every step of the way. Communication isn't just important, it's the foundation of our success.
All right, thanks for keeping us up to date. Just go to wihomeeval.com. That's wihomeeval.com. Or just Google Team Hoffman and check out over 700 5-star reviews.
Hi, I'm Willa Voss. I'm 8 years old. Mom and Dad own Cut and Go Tree Service. Yes, they did name me after a tree. Our family loves this country and the freedom it provides. Every morning, I look forward to starting the school day with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please say it along with me, even if you just say it in your mind. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. American patriots will enjoy a 5% discount for flying the American flag and mentioning this commercial when the cut-and-go remote control, automobile-mounted, articulated crane, grapple saw operators are putting your dead trees on the ground or removing large branches that grew over something important. An all-American Tons of Trees movement, cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGOTREES.com.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve with Grieve Law. If you're charged with a drunk driving, you're not just looking at a ticket. You're looking at a permanent mark on your record that can affect your career and your ability to rent a car or travel internationally. Not to mention the classes you'll need to take or the ignition interlock device that you'll have to install. Your license will be revoked, and even with a work permit, you're one long meeting or traffic jam away from driving revoked and facing up to 1 year in jail. That's a lot more than just a ticket. And if you pay the ticket without a fight, you are green to be on the hook for all of it. At Grieve Law, we believe one mistake shouldn't define your life. Our seasoned criminal defense attorneys focus on OWI cases with a track record of getting results. We examine your case, challenge field sobriety tests, scrutinize breathalyzer accuracy, and expose the weaknesses in the prosecution's case. If you have been arrested for an OWI, you're facing serious consequences. But with Grieve Law in your corner, you are far from facing them alone. Contact Grieve Law for your OWI defense. You are only guilty if you are convicted. GrieveLaw.com.
Things are going to be busy between now and the end of the year. Holiday gatherings, school functions for the kids, and family get-togethers. Hi, it's Jay, and the last thing you want to worry about this holiday season is whether your roof is going to make it through another Wisconsin winter. Well, one call to Semperfi Roofing to schedule a free 21-point roof inspection will put your mind at ease. A highly trained roof inspector will carefully examine every inch of your roof, checking the 21 most common areas of roof failure, and then go over the results with you and discuss your options going forward. Most of the time, problems can be fixed with a minor repair, but if it is time for a new roof, Semperfi offers money-saving discounts and financing terms to make paying easy. And don't forget, Semperfi is so confident in their skilled installers, they offer a 50-year leak-free guarantee on every roof they install. 50 years. So call or go online to schedule your free 21-point roof inspection today. Call 262-600-2910, 262-600-2910, or online at SemperfiRoofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
Injured? Call Gruber Law. One call, that's all. The free iHeartRadio app is your home for the holidays.
It's the most wonderful time.
Open the app and search Holiday and find B97.3, Milwaukee's home for the holidays. Plus stations playing specialized holiday music, Christmas classics, Christmas jazz, country, plus tons of playlists, even podcasts. Our gift to you, the perfect holiday soundtrack. Open the free iHeartRadio app now and search Holiday to start listening.
Smart speakers get a whole lot smarter when they're playing News Talk 1130 WISN. Just ask Alexa or Siri to play WISN Radio and bask in the glow of insight and enlightenment.
You ready? Let's go.
Really do like Showman's ideas for reforming elections. This is something that is long overdue. The Wisconsin Elections Commission has proven itself over multiple, and I mean multiple election cycles, not just the debacle that was 2020. It has proven itself to be thoroughly and utterly in the tank for Democrats. There's just no other two ways about it. None. The idea behind it was that there would be 3 appointed Republicans, 3 Republican appointed members, and 3 Democrat appointed members. And in order to do anything, there would need to be bipartisan agreement, right? The problem, though, is that whenever there is a 3-3 tie, and there is always a 3-3 tie, the recommendation of the staff is what carries the day. Guess what political persuasion every single staff member of that organization just happens to be, including its director, Megan Wolfe, who Republicans tried to get rid of but could not. They're all Democrats. They're all Madison liberal Democrats, every last one of them. They have been openly violating state law by refusing to clean up the state's voting rolls. They have refused to cross-check voting rolls with DMV driver's license records. They have refused to the point where they had to be sued, where a judge in Waukesha County had to tell them, hey, you need to check to make sure there are no illegal aliens or other people who are not legally authorized to vote on Wisconsin's voter rolls. They said, nah, we're just not going to do that. Why? What you administer Wisconsin elections? What possible reason could there be not to do that unless you want people who are not legally authorized to vote to be on the voter rolls and thus able to vote? There is no other. There's no other explanation. None. Wisconsin's voter rolls should be constantly cleaned up. We can do this algorithmically. And oh, by the way, if someone is inadvertently removed from the voter rolls and can't vote, guess what? They can register same day. They can literally, when they go to vote on election day, when they go to vote early, they can register to vote and vote at the exact same time. There is no harm that could possibly be incurred. But yet, no. We can't clean up the voter rolls. The one that just gets me every time, and it's Republicans who are primarily opposed to this, is counting the absentee ballots the day before. Why are we allowing them to do this under cover of darkness on election day when Republican election attorneys are spread so thin? Get them all in one spot. Do it at the central count. First of all, I would get rid of central count. This notion that we ship the ballots off to some other place for them to be counted. Count them, run them through the machines where they are. How is that so difficult? But this idea that we should be counting them at all hours of the night instead of when we very easily can the day before, when the election workers aren't really doing all that much. Yes, they're getting ready for the elections, but they can certainly run the ballots through the machines. And moving elections to November makes a lot of sense. It just does. Vote for it. They can be nonpartisan races. You don't have to put Republican or Democrat on the actual ballot. Why we have a random day in April as an election day is just beyond me. All of these make a whole lot of sense. We will be back. Had to do a quick segment because we have one last commercial break to get to here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Have no fear. We are back in just a second.
From the Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend Total Traffic Center.
Solid roadwork delays westbound 94 from the Marquette to Hawley, eastbound Highway 100 to Hawley. 43 southbound is stopping and going all the way in from Capitol. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Fresh Time Market. Fresh Time Market, where quality meets savings every day. From delicious meat and seafood to fresh produce and well-being essentials. You'll get big flavor without the big price tag. Fresh Time Market. Healthy living for less.
I'm Reset Restore MD's Dr. Jennifer Grieve. For people that are suffering from depression, anxiety, and PTSD who are desperate for relief, intravenous ketamine can provide the relief of a lifetime that other therapies can't. Listen to R&R MD patient feedback.
Depression plagued me for years. Antidepressants, supplements, yoga, meditating, even energy drinks
drugs, nothing worked. After the first R&R MD ketamine treatment, the fog that gripped my brain for years was gone. It broke my caffeine addiction. I had energy, zero anxiety, zero fatigue, zero depression day one.
The staff at the clinic is amazing. The results phenomenal. Anyone suffering depression or anxiety, this is the only therapy that ever worked.
IV ketamine infusions at Brookfield or Mequon's Reset Restore MD induce neuroplasticity, triggering rapid growth of therapeutic neurological connections. R&R MD's superior intravenous ketamine infusions take about an hour, but the relief can continue for weeks, months, even a lifetime. R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at mandercollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
Here's why. I'm attorney Werner Adam Rice of Warshevsky Law and licensed medical doctor Werner Adam Rice of Warshevsky Law. Being an MD and an attorney has allowed me to contribute powerful preparation for trial from day one in countless cases. I review medical evidence as it is discovered in the cases Warshevsky represents. Knowing the law and medicine allows me to see things an attorney might miss or that a doctor doesn't realize matter. For Warshevsky and our clients, my expertise has allowed us to see and prosecute forged and altered documents by doctors. I prepare medical expert witnesses in a way few attorneys can, and I'm a scientist. In one case, I proved negligence working with a medical examiner, creating an anatomic clay model of a deceased client. I've contributed to the Warshevsky firm winning many multi-million-dollar lawsuits, including the largest settlement ever awarded in Milwaukee County. Injured? It is about the money. Warshevsky.com, 414-276-4970.
Central Office IT Managed Services protect your technology and data. Our camera systems clearly document faces, read license plates, send alerts when movement, heat, or smoke are viewed. Central Office Systems secure access via HID card, key fob, or smartphones protects property and employees. Door entry can be limited to certain days or time periods. In plain sight, cameras encourage good behavior. Hidden cameras document bad behavior, converting IT risk and liability into assets. CentralOfficeSystems.com.
Corporate megastores are spending millions lobbying DC politicians on one-sided policies that send small businesses tumbling. They want to enact harmful credit card mandates that take resources away from your local credit union and community bank, leaving Main Street businesses with less access to credit, making it harder for your family to pay for everyday goods like gas and groceries. Tell Congress to guard your card and oppose the Durbin-Marshall credit card mandates.
Paid for by Electronic Payments Coalition.
Business owners, want to sell your business? At Lake Country Advisors, our team will meet with you face-to-face and will answer all your questions confidentially. Visit LakeCountryAdvisors.com and schedule a free consultation. Local, experienced, and trusted. We are Lake Country Advisors.
When starting a new home project, the first step is the hardest to take. Hi, Colleen here with Tri-County Contracting. And with Tri-County Contracting, the first step is super easy. Go to TriCountyContractingWI.com. You can fill out a short form requesting a free estimate. Amanda will give you a call and schedule a no-pressure appointment with you. Whether it's roofing, siding, windows, or all of the above, we have you covered. If you are looking for an even faster roof price, we also have our instant roof quote button. Name, address, and email address, and you have your price on the spot. Easy first step. Then, all the steps after that, we'll take care of those for you. Getting you an easy-to-read, clear proposal quickly comes next. Then we can help you pick colors using our showroom or project map on our website. We pull the permits, we take care of materials and disposal. Our trained and specialized crews and project managers take care of all the install and cleanup. For you, it's as easy as one step, and that step is easy. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
You love her twice as much today as the day you married her, right?
Welcome to Kessler's.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. The Milwaukee Bucks are in Charlotte to take on the Hornets tonight. And don't look now, but if it wasn't for VJ Edgecombe, you could make the case that Con Knippel of Wisconsin Lutheran, he went to Duke for college, is on pace to be NBA Rookie of the Year. He was taken 4th overall by the Hornets, and he is playing up to his draft status. He's averaging 16.7 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 3 assists per game as well, shooting 45% from the field. He can score in a bunch of different ways. And in fact, about a week or so ago in Miami, he dropped 30 on the Heat. Always good to see a local kid make good. Meanwhile, the number 1 overall pick and Knippel's teammate at Duke, Cooper Flagg, has been struggling a little bit. Primarily because the Dallas Mavericks tried to move him to point guard. He is a natural wing, and he is a generational player, says everybody who has ever watched the kid play, but he's been playing out of position. Now, because of that, and because of the fact that he made the absolute worst trade in franchise history, the Mavericks finally fired their general manager, Nico Harrison. Little known fact about Harrison. Do you know he was the executive at Nike who argued against signing a young player from Davidson College by the name of Steph Curry? He honestly said, no, we should not sign Steph Curry. And yes, we should trade away Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Raiders. Good riddance. I would talk, folks, briefly about that Monday Night Football game. Frankly, I didn't see it because it went on at, 4 a.m. my time. I was in Rome, had a just incredible time. We are out of time for today's program, so maybe I'll talk about some of our experiences in Rome and why you absolutely have to get there. But alas, we are out of time. Talk to you tomorrow, 3:06, right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.